No countdown timer today. I started late. The timer should have been past zero. Apologies for starting late. Thank you so much for your patience. Today we are talking about hackathons and we're going behind the scenes in this awesome hackathon organized by these amazing organizers. So I'm not going to do them any justice. So I'm just going to bring them on and let them do some talking, intro themselves, talk about why they've organized the hackathon, and then we'll go and speak to the mentors, and then we'll speak to the project teams and the hackathon attendees and find out what challenges they're trying to solve and what tech they're trying to use. So any questions you have, just write it in the chat. It's awesome to have you here. I'll try and get round to it. D-Rush, thank you so much for joining. Let's get started. So I have with me three awesome organizers. I'm going to let them go around and introduce themselves, and then we'll dig in more into the hackathon. So Phoebe, we'll go clockwise. Why don't you start?
Cool. Hi, my name's Phoebe, as you said. For my day job, I'm a full stack senior software engineer at City Innovation Lab. And then I guess my sort of side project is I'm co-founder and CEO of Women Driven Development. Yes, that's me.
Awesome. Mindy.
Nice. Hey, hi everyone. My name is Mindy Jackra, and my day job, I suppose, as Phoebe said, is I'm a tech manager at Expedia Group. And then outside of that, I don't necessarily have like other kind of side projects as such, but I like to kind of dabble in some social justice projects here or there, and yeah, maybe some amateur astronomy when I can. But yeah, and also hackathons.
Awesome. And last but not least, Misa.
Yeah, hey, I'm Misa. I'm a research software engineer at the BBC R&D. So that's my day job. And on the side, I run WDD with Phoebe.
Awesome. So how did the hackathon come about? I know Women Driven Development run quite a few hackathons. That's how I've met all of you at Google and Expedia and the hackathons, the awesome hackathons that you have run. And how did this hackathon come about?
I think, yeah, we've worked a lot with Mindy before at Expedia. I think that's when we sort of introduced you women-driven development in their sort of hackathon style world. But really it was Mindy who sort of had the brainchild for this project. So maybe you, Mindy, can do a little intro?
Yes. Yeah, I think it was all a bit random, to be honest. So I was involved with COVID mutual aid, and it spun up really soon after we saw the coronavirus issue kind of start peaking a little bit, or not peaking, it kind of emerged. And COVID mutual aid, a group of folks who want to start up kind of helping others in the community, so communities helping communities. So I was part of one of my Highbury mutual aid groups, and yeah, it was just this idea of using our skills to help others in the community. And I saw also there was a hackathon in Germany where folks were using their tech skills to help people affected by coronavirus. And those two things just married together quite perfectly into, okay, well, why don't we bring the tech folks that I know together and see if we can build like awesome technical solutions to help the community. And that's our way of showing solidarity, I suppose, with folks that are struggling. And yeah, that's when I reached out to Phoebe and Misa, who do an incredible job at WDD. So I'm going to pass over to those ladies to tell you a bit more about WDD, because I love WDD and you should hear about them.
Well, so yeah, really. So as we said already, we do hackathons. So this is our first remote first hackathon. Although we have had a couple of remote people attending some of our hackathons. I think this was definitely a new challenge. I think what's very special about our hackathons is they are predominantly women and non-binary people, although it's definitely not exclusively just women. And I think what's so special in addition to that is the sort of culture that we can create, which is very inclusive. There's no prizes at the end. It's very much about sort of teching things forward. I love a pun. So we've sort of come up with our slogan, tech it forward, and sort of we've always partnered with different charities, and then we bring people together to work on projects for the charities. So it could be something as simple as updating their website. One of the charities, Culpeper charity in Islington, they still hadn't been able to update their charity registration number on their website. So, you know, you can imagine what the rest of their website was like. So that's sort of how we started off, providing opportunities for predominantly women and gender minorities to work together firsthand. And yeah, I know it'd be great to hear what all your thoughts are, but so far I think it's managed to transition quite nicely to being remote first. There's been a lot of chats, both in Slack and also I think on different video calls. Yeah, I think it seems to be going well. We have tried to keep the same structure, so sort of a kick-off in the morning, touching sort of catch up, sort of elevator pitch at sort of 3 in the afternoon on the first day, which sort of we feel sort of helps, you know, engage everyone and get inspired again, seeing what all the other badass people are doing. So yeah, it's been really great.
So let me understand the journey, I guess, of when the hackathon started. So the hackathon is predominantly this weekend, is in Saturday and Sunday, but you had a call last Tuesday where I think you had the mentors spend about 30 minutes talking about the subject matter area, the area they're experts in. For example, you had a doctor from NHS talking about the challenges that they had, and we'll get them on shortly afterwards, so we'll go more into those details afterwards. But so you did that, and then you had was it Saturday morning, like a 9 o'clock kickoff call? Then you checked on people throughout the day, and then there's today happening, and then it ends end of tomorrow. Is that correct? And will the teams give demos? If you could just talk about that journey of the virtual hackathons.
Sure. Anyone? Shall I take it? Or okay. So yeah.
Sorry, Phoebes. I was just going to say about the pre-hack. Yeah. That's actually one of the things that stood out to me. Of all the other hackathons I've been involved in, the WDD format is inviting charities and other such places to come across and talk about the challenges that they're facing and how maybe digital solutions can help them. And that's the really novel part of doing a WDD hackathon specifically. And actually that's how the mutual aid stuff tied in so well here. So part of the mutual aid group is folks stepping forward and saying, you know, I'm facing this challenge and whatnot. And actually, Amy Colori, who can't be on the call today, unfortunately, but she's been absolutely incredible with the community. She was talking, she's a doctor in the NHS and was talking to some of the challenges they're facing in the NHS. And that was one of the groups that spoke at the pre-hack, for example. And you'll hear from some of the other mentors as well about how their areas in education, on the front line in terms of like women's services, how their areas are being affected. But just having that context before a hackathon helps so much with thinking about, okay, we want to apply a digital solution to a real world problem. And also just hearing those challenges, it's obviously very, very inspiring, very important for us to remember what we're doing this for. So yeah, that was the pre-hack that happened last Tuesday. Actually, maybe this Tuesday. It was a few days ago. Time is but a concept at the moment. But yeah.
So the pre-hack was really useful, definitely.
So after the pre-hack, we had an Excel sheet where people could add their ideas. So project ideas, a bit of a sort of description about the different projects. We also then created. Again, this was all sort of us adapting to being remote first. So we created a unique Slack channel for each of the projects. We created a unique Blue Jeans link so that they could maybe call if they found that easier. And sort of, I think the deadline for that was sort of midnight Thursday, so Friday morning, Thursday evening. And then I guess sort of Saturday morning, people got into groups and sort of started to brainstorm how they wanted to sort of architect and sort of where to focus on these problems.
Awesome. I'm just conscious of time. I know the mentors are keen to come on and talk about the challenges they're trying to solve. Also the challenges they have. Anything else you'd like to add as the organisers? I mean, I would love to have in a week or two have kind of a what's the word, a wash up with you about what worked, what didn't work. But for now, for the people watching, people who may be involved in the hackathon or following along the hackathon on socials, anything else that you would like to add?
I'd say tune in. Oh, you go, Miss.
Yeah, I want to just mention WDD YouTube channel. We've been recording all the sessions and publishing sort of chopped up versions, so you can easily find contents and what people are working on. So yeah, do check it out.
Yes, definitely go have a look at the Women Driven Development Hackathon and encourage them to put more and more videos out there. I think I was their first subscriber, so I'm keen to see more. And it's really nice how you've chopped up the videos so you can see what each project's elevator pitch was at the beginning of the hackathon, and then we can follow up now with a live stream to see how the teams are getting on. And then tomorrow when they do their final pitch, I'm sure you'll chop it up and do another playlist of the final projects. And also, these projects are open source, so you can follow along with the code and with the deployments and see what is going on. The beauty, actually one massive beauty of it being remote and everyone being remote, everyone has to push to GitHub more frequently rather than at the end of the hackathon where everyone goes, right, hackathon's over, let's quickly just push everything up. Because everyone's remote and you're having to work with people remotely, everyone has to keep it up to date. And it's actually quite interesting. I have noticed that.
Definitely.
Awesome. I'm going to leave the three of you in peace. I know you're super busy. I've seen so many messages going all over the place. Thank you so much for being on my live stream, and thank you so much for organising such an amazing hackathon. I'm going to go ping the men. Yeah, go on. Of course.
So sorry. I just wanted to say to all of the participants as well, because a lot of this has been behind the scenes. We haven't seen so many of the faces that are involved, but thank you so much for getting involved. Solidarity, not charity. Like, obviously all this togetherness is going to come together and help actual folks who are in need, hopefully. So you should be really proud of yourselves, and hopefully we'll actually get to have a drink in the pub when this is all over, or something at least. Thank you.
Awesome. So everyone watching, don't go away. I'm going to go get the mentors to come on now so you can hear more about their specific areas around like NHS, education, and there was a couple of others, but I forget. They'll tell you. Say thank you. Bye to the organisers. People watching, don't go. Hello everyone. I told you not to go. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to go ping in the mentors channel to tell them to join, and then that will now kick off all the organisers. And we're clicking the links now. Yes, please join. Don't forget to have your questions ready and write it in the chat. If you've got questions for the organisers, if you've got questions for the mentors, or if you've got questions for the different projects and hackathons. So this is going to be interesting. I did see the mentors talk on Tuesday, talk about the different challenges, and they went into a lot of detail. There's actually quite a lot of information to absorb. So I'm really keen to kind of get the high level and to share that with you. Okay, we have a couple ready. We're just waiting for one more. We can bring them in. I think we're waiting for one more person. Hello, mentors. I think we're waiting for one more, so we'll wait 30 seconds. Aha! We have everybody. Let's just go straight in. So we've just had an awesome intro from the organizer of the hackathon, and now we have the awesome mentors who have been here since Tuesday, helping the teams work forward, explaining to them about their challenges and answering any questions and doing such awesome work about You're going to hear from them. I'll shut up now. Let's go clockwise. So,
Am I clockwise? Who's
yes, you're first. Please introduce
Okay.
yourself and tell us more about the challenge that you brought.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Eddie. My name's Latifa Akai, and I am the Director of Education at a charity called Maslaha. We work with social inequalities in Muslim communities in quite a broad way. So we work across criminal justice, education, gender, and health. And the reason we work in that way is because we kind of acknowledge that all of these inequalities are interlinked and inform each other in different ways. And for this particular, for the hackathon, it was amazing when Mindy and the other organisers approached, because we were talking as a team about how we were going to overcome some of the challenges that are coming up in education at the moment with schools being closed. So the quite kind of profound challenges that families are facing with school being closed and children being at home all day in the context of a pandemic where you can't go outside. And we were aware that that we needed some kind of virtual or digital solution to some of those questions. So this, was a real blessing when it came along, the opportunity. And basically I pitched and kind of presented a range of the challenges under education. So basically things like the overwhelming amount of resources out there, the challenges that families are facing who have maybe children who have special educational needs, and what that means when those children don't have the support that they're used to. Also the question of language and the fact that there's tons of resources out there, but actually that can be really overwhelming for parents when they're juggling stuff in a pandemic, as well as families who don't speak English, and how that can be a challenge. And then also the question of isolation. But so that's in a nutshell, where it started. Yeah.
That's awesome, and I think I was going to say everybody, from Tuesday when I heard all the mentors talking about the challenges, I didn't realise about how many challenges there are, even in each kind of section, like the subsections and the sub challenges. I remember going away after that call and saying to my wife, there was just so much more. There's so many layers, and there's so much more to it. And yeah, it's really, really interesting. And I think it's great that all these people have come together to help, and I think more people can help. And that's probably my goal of this, to show people that people can help virtually, and whatever skill they've got or experience they've got, they can help. But let's carry on. So, Asma, have I pronounced that right?
It's actually pronounced as Asma, but I will take your breath away. Uh, so yeah, I'm used to that, right? Not the condition. It actually means many names, and many names of God. So I'm quite proud of that name, actually. So yeah, I work in several different sectors, and it's all very much community-based and physical human being to physical human being. So technology I really appreciate anyway, but when it comes to something like this that we're experiencing in our lifetime, it's paramount. So I'm just really, really grateful that all of the teams that I have had the opportunity and benefit to work with have been incredible and working so hard. And I'm just really, really grateful that I've got the opportunity to present and share some of the struggles that I have within the areas that I work in. So just to give you a bit of an insight into some of the areas, is that I work as a children's occupational therapist. I specialize in neuro, so children with brain damages, and as well as sensory integration difficulties. I'm also a Muslim queer woman who leads prayers at the Inclusive Mosque Initiative, and I am what you call an expert by experience. And I use these expertise of mine to work with young women in local schools who are affected by all forms of violence, and more specifically gang violence. I'm a trustee of a leading violence against women's organisation called Women and Girls Network, and I also do direct action work with other organisations. So some of the kind of issues that I had been faced with is when working with my children. And if those of you that don't know what occupational therapists do, we rehabilitate the lost skills of life. So when you have a disease, accident, or trauma and unable to do certain things in your life, we will step in and support you to either regain those skills, or through the use of equipment and adaptations, help you to compensate so that you're able to live a life where you're not just existing, but you're living. I work with children, and I also work with SEN, special educational needs children that Latifa had mentioned. They all have what you would call an education, health and care plan. It's a legal document that says that this child needs certain things in place in order for them to be living in their environments, whether that's in education, at home, or in the community. We've got currently 42,000 children on these plans, and I don't think any of them are getting any of what they need during a period like this. And I work with 0 to 18, and those plans are for children who are on till 25 if they're in education. So moving on to the specific challenges that I had when working as an OT in this environment is my child or my children who I'm working with are in receipt of 24-hour care, and there is a huge shortage of carers anyway, especially now. A lot of the carers have either become unwell or are refusing to come in, understandably. Our work is very hands-on, and so the treatment sessions that I had done beforehand and enabled those children to do certain things. So one of my children has now been able to bring food to his mouth independently. It's crisp, it's not very much, but to him, not being able to do that for 9 years of his life and being able to do that now recently, there's a risk that he's going to regress and we may not be able to use those skills again. Not having a central place for advice. For instance, he has a multidisciplinary team working with him. There's so much advice in place, but again, they're not able to access this advice because all of a sudden we've been challenged to now go online. Parents, carers, are not always tech savvy. And the benefits of this is potentially preventing children from going into care, but also limiting life, preventing any more damage to their well-being. Moving on, what I've been working with the teams on is the violence against women and girls. As you can imagine, the women are now forced to be in their homes with their perpetrators and not having that break during the day to even have a breather. Everything is constantly always monitored anyway. So one of the key issues we had was confidentiality and privacy, the risk of violence in all forms, and now more than ever, sometimes it's children, it's partners, siblings, and especially with COVID now in place, and then Ramadan coming up, which is the fasting month. Service users are unable to leave the house to talk, as I mentioned, because of the perpetrators. How do we put something in place where they can alert authorities to step in, or at least have a conversation or alert the caseworker that they are anxious about something and they have that sort of interaction with them. At the same time, we are not working from home. We're all working and trying to get work done during a crisis. So all of these people within a very under-resourced sector have been burnt out for many, many years anyway. They're still doing the work. And I think having something in place where the burden is lifted a little bit can provide some sort of solace and tranquility for not just the service users, but also the service providers. With the Inclusive Mosque Initiative, which is an inclusive space, a spiritual space for a lot of the marginalized groups, so those being LGBTQI, disabled, women, children, have a safe space to come and worship. Whoever they choose to worship, they have the space there. Often this space is a lifeline for a lot of our members, and that is now kind of taken away from them. So we're trying to work on different ways of connecting with our congregation, really. So that's everything that I do. And yeah, I'm going to let you move on to I can't see my own screen, but I think it's over here on my left.
I think it's Amy next, but that was brilliant. And I think it's amazing how much people do. And I think, the people at the hackathon are doing lots, but then the mentors do lots, not just for this weekend, they have done for years. And I think that's also what's really interesting and really, really inspiring. But we've got some questions in the chat, and we'll come back to that, and we'll dig a bit deeper shortly. So let's move on to Amy.
So hi, my name's Amy. I'm a GP working in the Hackney area. I came on a little bit later in the hackathon process to give my input. I know there's quite a lot of different NHS things that are going on, but I've been primarily helping out with the GP aspect. And I think really the most challenging thing, obviously, is the massive workload we now have throughout the NHS, and trying to find ways to streamline that so that we're working most effectively. The NHS have been absolutely awful with IT, but if anything that's good to come out of COVID is we're finally catching up with modern technology. So now we're frequently using video calling, text, and trying to integrate different apps and different skills into our IT systems will be really beneficial. I think one of the main issue that's concerning myself and my GP colleagues is the ongoing monitoring of our patients. So there's been a lot of guidance out that for certain patients that with quite symptoms we're concerned about, we should be reviewing them every 12 to 24 hours. Now you can imagine with the amount of patients on a practice list, that's very, very difficult. So the aim of what we've been trying to set up is something that can monitor these patients and flag up to the GP the patients that should be called first in the day because they're really not doing well, and the patients that can maybe be spoken to a bit later in the day, or perhaps patients with less severe symptoms that another member of the healthcare team can speak to. So one of the healthcare assistants or nursing staff. So we're making the most of all the patients, all the staff we have available to us. I suppose a really tricky thing about COVID itself, the virus itself, is it's a very long course. So for lots of illnesses, we can usually, if patient is going to deteriorate, you can tell pretty quickly within a couple of days. The tricky thing with COVID is it tends to be that people are plodding along reasonably well, and then it's only when we're hitting day 7, day 8 that they start to deteriorate. So it's difficult for us to keep track of people that for that longer period by phoning every day or and asking specific questions. So having some sort of system that can highlight, these people are going over a week of having symptoms and getting worse, not better. You need to speak to them urgently will really help us manage our workload and work most efficiently. So that's what we've been working, what I've been helping and offering advice for with my group.
Wow. The NHS is so stretched anyway, so in these times I can't imagine. Just to quickly answer some of the questions in the chat, a GP is a doctor and it stands for?
General practitioner. So it's like your family medicine doctor.
Okay, general practitioner, awesome. Just we have people from around the world, and NHS is, I don't know what it stands for actually, National Healthcare System, I guess?
National Health Service, nearly,
Service.
yeah.
Thank you. I'm so terrible with acronyms. My wife was asking me about some tech acronyms I was using, and I said, I don't know what they stand for. I know what they mean, but I don't know what they stand for. I'm terrible with those things. So some of the questions we actually had was actually about the hackathon being virtual. So I guess my first question probably is, to the three of you, have any of you been involved in a hackathon before?
I haven't, no.
No.
This is your first hackathon and it's completely remote. So how has that gone for you? And I guess what's worked well and what hasn't?
It's been really interesting. I have noticed that everyone's working tirelessly. There are a number of messages that come up and pop up that need attention, and the times of the days that people have been working. It's been really interesting to do it remotely. A lot of the times, just that human connection and not having that human connection once we go online and then see each other's faces and know a bit. But it's been really, really good for me personally, because I think just getting an insight into how they think, and I think it's just such a great skill. And we can't do everything ourselves, right? And I think for a lot of people who work within the community and services, we often feel like we're doing it on our own, but there are so many other people out there who are as passionate as we are, and therefore are willing to put in the work. And that's what's been really great for me to feel and see, and it's a sign of hope and faith in us coming together in this way. And the passion behind it has just been so inspiring, and I'm just grateful. I'm just really grateful.
Yeah.
What I really love is the different skill sets coming together, but I'll come back into that. Sorry, I interrupted someone.
Yeah. No, Eddie, I was just going to say quickly that, following on from what Asma said, that I think virtually credit to the organisers and then all of the amazing, techies who were kind of who are volunteering their time and energy all weekend, which is a massive thing. Like I'm kind of in awe of the way the team that I've been in has been working and coming together and kind of creating, I guess, while it's virtual, having a lot of calls, which gives that kind of human element, and just everyone being so kind of open-hearted and generous with their time and their energies and their skills, and it seems to be, I mean, as a non-tech person, it is all a bit above my head, I must say, but I can sense that. I can sense that also there seems to be an upskilling across all the different people, because people are coming from different expertise and they're having a chance to do different things as well. And it just, it's been brilliant. It's been a brilliant experience. And like Asma said, in a lot of, third sector charity or grassroots services, they're just, tech is not of the essence. We don't have those skills in-house. And it's really been an invaluable kind of opportunity for us. Yeah.
I think I'm going to answer a question and come back and continue on from what you were saying, because someone's asked a really good question. They said, why is it called a hackathon? I'm guessing, what is a hackathon? I've made the assumption here that people know what this all is. And I should have started right at the beginning by saying this. So a hackathon, it's generally kind of like building a startup in, say, 2 days. And the word comes from hack, as in to build something, not to break something, not like the movies say, that's more crack. So hack is in to build something, and from marathons, they kind of join the two words together to make it a hackathon. But it's literally a marathon, and you're trying to build a startup or a prototype or MVP in 2 days. And as Latifa was saying, it's important to bring different skills together. So people who know me know I love doing hackathons. My audience watching knows I love vlogging hackathons that I go to around Europe and around the world. And the hackathons I have won is where there's been a mixed skills of people from different backgrounds and different skill sets. The hackathons I have lost is actually where we've all being coders, because we get our blinkers on and we try and engineer something that's like super cool, but we didn't think about the user, we didn't think about presenting it, we didn't think about actually, is it a useful kind of product? Technically it might be awesome, but that's not the goal of a hackathon. At the end, it needs to be something useful that potentially could go further, and being open source, which means it's publicly available for other people to contribute to, other people to use, then other people could pick it up. I have seen hackathon projects continue from the original team, when I've seen teams 50% of the time kind of change. And I have actually seen projects after hackathon not continue, but then a few weeks later, a completely new team loved the idea, picked it up and carried on with it. So being open source is really important, and also documenting why people chose certain things or to do things a certain way. And that's actually a key thing about being remote, I think, has been really useful. I always find at hackathons, when they're all kind of co-located on site, then people don't push anything up to GitHub or log issues. It's all word of mouth, chatting to people next to you. But then when everyone disappears after the hackathon, no one's really documented it. But being remote, I've seen people be a lot better about making kind of notes and documentations, who's working on what. So it's actually quite interesting. I think that's another massive positive there. And I think, like you said, like everyone, like all of you said, a lot of the charities, tech isn't at the forefront, but I guess now tech can help make it more efficient. And that's why it's going to be really exciting when we see what the projects have done to solve some of these challenges. And from the three of you, what have you seen? Like, is there anything that really stood out? I know there's like a whole raft of ideas, and I think there was originally over 20 project ideas, and I think 6 or 7 have been carried forward into projects and being worked on. But not necessarily particularly a specific project, but maybe a specific idea that you think, wow, if this kind of not gets completed, but gets to a certain step, could actually be really useful and could be used?
Do you want to go ahead?
Yet.
I'm conscious you didn't get to speak the last time.
Yeah.
Well, I think, as you said before, I've come on a little bit late, so I'm a bit behind on some of them. But I think looking, as you said before, there were many more ideas, all of which were great. So I think looking briefly at all of the projects that are ongoing at the moment, it seems like they have real scope to have real difference and be really beneficial. So I think really all of them look like they could have real promise. And it's amazing as a non-techie, the fact that this can all come together in 48 hours is just unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
It is really interesting to see what people can do when they're, you know, different skill sets and they really put their mind to it and focus. It's always really interesting to see what people can deliver. And you think, wow, they've done that in 2 days. If they had a week, or if they had like a month and maybe some extra resources, what they could do. And I have seen some hackathons get funding. So I have seen some projects come out of hackathons and they've, you know, done a demo of what their project was, and they have received, say, £30,000 to try and continue it for 2 months to really get that push and use it. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully everyone's sharing it on socials, and hopefully someone in my network might be able to, I don't know, connect people up and see where it can go. So I know we've only got about 10 minutes left, and we can dig a lot deeper into each area. I guess I'm trying to keep it a bit high level and not do too many spoilers for the teams coming up next. I know the teams will probably go into a lot more detail, and if it's going anything by what I usually do is I go straight into the tech and on the project side. So from a high level, are you able to talk about some of the projects in your areas, just kind of like a really short elevator pitch in, you know, 1 or 2 sentences, what they're actually trying to do and solve?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go ahead. So basically, so some of the challenges I mentioned at the beginning of at the beginning we came on, it felt really fortunate because basically I'd kind of outlined some of these in the pre-hack, which, you know, the organisers were describing a while ago, and basically, yeah, some of the challenges I'd mentioned were that potentially an interface could be useful where parents and families can go on there and basically be kind of have more one-to-one support with someone who has expertise in education, for example, teaching or a particular subject, or in tech, the tech side of things. Because I know I've spoken to a lot of parents who are struggling with some of the tech that maybe the schools their child goes to is using Google Classrooms and they really can't work out how to use it. Or I know a couple of parents who have loads of expertise and want to share some learning with other parents but don't know how to set up, for example, a YouTube channel with live or Zoom or whatever. So they're having tech challenges. And another thing then is translation, where a lot of, you know, for a lot of parents, it's just so overwhelming to see, you know, thousands of resources floating about in the ether, and then you're trying to choose what you're trying to work out what's going to work for your child, and then how you'd actually go through the process of working through that with your child. So so I'd kind of suggested potentially there could be an interface with the option to get some mentorship and have people sign up as experts, because as we know, loads of people have a bit more, some people, not loads, some people have more capacity during this time. For example, if you can't go to work or whatever, and I know a lot of teachers are continuing their role as teachers during this time, some aren't, and a lot of people really want to help, but there's, you know, for various reasons, different avenues of helping are more suited to different people. So basically, yeah, this amazing team of people in the hackathon, of, you know, developers, programmers, and so on. They picked up this idea and called it Connect. First Connect, Educate, and now Connected Learning. And you'll be hearing from a couple of members of the team shortly, Win and Inesh. And basically, yeah, that was the idea, was that you would, yeah, they've basically kind of built that idea, and kind of in terms of having an interface where people can ask questions specifically to education and get one-to-one support, and support importantly in their own language. And also, you know, they'll talk a little bit about there's an option to use text message as well, because acknowledging that a lot of families don't have the internet at home or don't have mobile phones or laptops, whether it's one or all of those, but basically that for some families that they are feeling very isolated in ways like that as well, and that could be an important option for some people to have. So yeah, the team have been amazing, and you'll hear from them shortly, speaking much more articulately about the tech elements. Yeah.
Awesome. I'll let someone else go next. Anyone else got any kind of projects they want to kind of give a high level overview on?
Shall I go next? Yeah. I kind of already spoke about my one when I was discussing earlier. So I think there's a couple of NHS ones happening. I think one is following, obviously rotoring in the NHS is impossible at the best of times, and as we all know, at some points up to a third of the workforce are off themselves because they're in self-isolation, or a family member's ill and they've got to self-isolate. And lots of doctors have, and other healthcare workers have, multiple roles and skill sets where they can be moved to different departments and things. So I think one of the projects, although I'll let them discuss more in the next bit if I'm right, is looking into helping an app to help people with rotoring and staff availability, because that's going to be crucial as we go on through this crisis. And the project I've been helping more with was, as I was saying, looking for a tool that's, obviously there's the online 111, which is a great system, but a tool that GPs can log on their own personal patients to if they want to be keeping a closer eye on them, to daily update their symptoms and create kind of a traffic light system about people that need to be phoned and how urgent that would be, and to help us manage our workflow.
Yeah, I can't wait to go into more detail on the tech side of that. That definitely
I have no idea about
interesting.
that.
No problem. We've got time for that. Don't worry. When we get the team on, we'll dig more.
All right. So what we're doing, and I just remembered, because of what we're doing and trying to support the women and girls to stay safe, we need to make sure there is an element of our project ensuring that it is as private as possible in terms of how it works, because there are situations and will be situations where perpetrators will potentially find out that these women are using an app or something to alert other people. So we're looking at ways to manage that. At the same time, how do we get the information across to these particular contacts? So the idea is that a woman or a girl will have this app available to them. And one of the things that we have thought about is, what about the population, or the women, a group of women who don't have phones or access to any technology? And that's something that we're going to be looking into and developing, because there's other things that we can use. For instance, use people within the community who will be able to pick up on certain signs of violence of any form, and therefore then be that person who alerts these services or gives them the information to get the support. So it's in the form of a game, and only the person using the app knows the particular code and the particular kind of things to press in order to make an alert of any sort. So there's 3 different kinds of alert. One is they will talk about it, but one is that I am okay and things are fine. And then the next one, Amber, is I'm a bit concerned, I'm anxious about something. And then the other one is I need authorities to step in. And that's like the highest level of alert, where potentially we need to remove the woman from the household. And this connects into the service providers, and then there will be a list of service providers who are already in touch with these women. So this will give a contact and a link between the caseworkers, as well as just friends and family who can be that contact person during that time. So yeah, I'm really excited for what it would. It's in very early stages, and I appreciate that. But what we've managed to get done is incredible. And one of the things that I've really appreciated is how they've been able to translate their skills into language that I and any other person can understand, because we've had to get other people to look at what they have developed and then give feedback on. So it's great. It's great to be able to do that. I think it's a real skill and talent that they have.
It's awesome that you're already getting like almost user feedback. I think that's really important. Again, going back to the hackathons that I've been to and I've seen other people win, I think, hey, I should have won. My project's awesome. Mm-hmm. And they've done like user feedback, and they've really got some concrete evidence of why features for the project has been chosen and why other ones haven't. So that sounds really awesome. We've actually got a question from Diraj in the chat saying, what technical problems do you face out there in the field doing the high-risk job? I think it's focused at Amy, I guess being a doctor. What sort of things? I know we see on the news lack of protective equipment. I mean, there must be a whole raft of things.
Yeah, obviously in the highlight in the news is the personal protective equipment, which I think people would say maybe the government acted a bit slowly on. Luckily for me and most of my colleagues where we work, actually, we've been well supplied. But I think that's also a massive issue for, they're talking a lot about doctors and things, but obviously people in the care, social care, it affects them just as much, if not more so. They're up close and personal doing personal care and are really at risk. And I think that's maybe been a bit slow to get on the ground for them. And then obviously there's just, as doctors, we're used to having to deal with quite stressful situations. Unfortunately, dealing with death and talking to family members about death is stressful for, unfortunately we have to do that quite a lot, and we are used to that, but it's just to a whole new degree now. A lot of my family, my colleagues and friends that are working in ITU, having to have those kind of conversations over a telephone when loved ones can't be there, the stress for both, the relatives and the staff dealing with that. So a main thing that's happening now in the NHS is working on kind of looking after the mental well-being of all the staff involved, because obviously it's going to be very stressful, and that can have just as much of an impact on someone as catching COVID themselves. So, and that fear. So I think that's probably one of the main stresses that's facing us all at the moment.
Wow, that really puts it into perspective. I kept on thinking more about the practicality of the day-to-day. I guess it kind of what you see on TV, or when I as a kid kind of watched, I don't know, Casualty or whatever. But you're right, it is. Then when you got to phone the relatives, and you've got all that kind of knock-on effect, and I just can't even articulate it. It's just stuff that I never even, I guess, thought of, and I probably still can't even comprehend. And the mental well-being of the doctors and nurses and everyone involved must be really hard. And I guess you're all working long hours. You are stretched really thin as it is, and not much more I can say on that.
A lot of people are stepping up, and so I'm one of the lucky ones. General practice, I'll be staying in general practice and doing my day-to-day job, but lots of people are getting moved to specialities and doing roles that they have never done before, and stepping up in that way. So that's very stressful. And people coming out newly trained, kind of final year nurses and doctors all moving into the workforce, which was, I remember how terrifying it was for me my first couple of months as a doctor. And then consider all of that with all of the stress of a pandemic, and they'll be seeing much more unwell patients than they usually would on a day-to-day basis be seeing when they first start. So I think really the mental well-being needs to be thought of just as much as the physical for all the medical staff.
Absolutely. I'm conscious of time, so in a few minutes I'm going to let you all go. I know your team, you're going to have loads of messages from your teams asking you questions and look things up and test things and all the rest. I think my last kind of closing questions for the mentors is, how has your hackathon experience been? Hopefully positive in these difficult times. Will you be attending, well, I say attending is the wrong word. Will you be participating in any more hackathons in the near future? I know there is an EU, so this is UK versus COVID hack. I think at the end of the month there is an EU versus COVID hack coming up. And I think a lot of the challenges that the three of you have brought and shared for the participants in the hackathon, it's the same in every other country in the world. Okay, they might not have it labelled as the NHS, or they might not have it labelled as the same titles, but the principles are the same. They're going to have the sorts of similar conditions. So I think what we learn from it, we can maybe share with others, and vice versa. And the project's being open source, hopefully that can help other countries too. So I guess my first question is, hopefully the hackathon was good. And second question to all of you is, when is the next one that you're participating in?
I don't know when the next one I'm participating in is. I hope soon. I think for me it was definitely it was a massive positive, and it was. I guess it's been very eye-opening, as both Asma and Amy have said, in terms of just linking up with having the opportunity to kind of explore what some digital solutions could be, particularly in the kind of like really unprecedented conditions that this pandemic has created, where we can't be face to face, we can't be physically in contact with people in the way we're used to being, in a way that a lot of these frontline professions were used to considering best practice as being in that kind of face to face way. So really, I can't imagine any more like appropriate moment for there to be a lot of interesting opportunities to link up with tech and whatever else. And at the same time, we're all hoping that the government takes a more responsible approach in terms of the fact that, yes, yet again, this weekend, we've seen loads of people voluntarily giving their time, their energy, their capacity, their resources to something and always hoping that the government is going to step up and give more honest and kind of like practical responses in terms of the challenges Amy has outlined in the NHS, and they're really profound and like heartbreaking situations that so many people are in. We would hope that that would come hand in hand with a more honest and appropriate response from the government as well. So yeah. But yeah, I'm hopeful that, hackathons and kind of like these kind of solutions will be even more, hopefully happen a lot during this period, and it will have, all of us, and we can bring a lot more of our peers in as well in terms of how we can kind of work together during this really difficult time. Yeah.
Well said. I can't reply. I can't do a reply to that. That was brilliant. I mean, that was really good. So, yeah, making a negative into a positive. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's just the main thing I've taken away as well is, the shining light in this whole thing has been how communities have come together to help. In my local area, just as often as me putting people in touch with specific medical people, I'm putting people in touch with community groups and things that can help them if they're vulnerable. And this just shows how people can all come together, even virtually, to create something really helpful and hopefully beneficial for the future. So I've found it really helpful and really interested, and definitely will be excited to get involved again in the future.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm just going to really echo what Latifa and Amy has said. I'd love to be a part of another hackathon. The wider, the bigger, the better for me. I've really enjoyed it. It's been an adventure, and I really just love sitting back and standing back and just watching how different areas and different people and different personalities just come together, and it becomes a beautiful ball of something, And we, like I said, we can't be experts in everything, but if we acknowledge and understand who we are and where we are with our own skills and talents, and then how we can then communicate that with one another, and how we can then share our skills and talents with one another to then achieve a bigger goal. During this period, I think what's really happening and being a light has been shown on is what we have been doing wasn't working anyway, but now it's really been forcing us to think about this. But at the same time, for me personally, knowing there has always been so much work behind these things that we need in place. For instance, I've also experienced working in the NHS and not having a proper rota system in place, and how, clunky it is. It just doesn't work, and how much of a stress that can put on our managers when they just don't have to deal with that. They need to work with actually allowing people to live their lives and treating them in the way that they can. So yeah, I'm just really excited to see what happens after this, and just holding on to that faith and hope of the good that's going to come out of this, that we've been all contributing towards.
Well, I'm just replying to one of the questions in the chat, but you're right. People have shown their true colours, and I think it's brought out the best in a lot of people and how they've all come together. I mean, the three of you have basically said how everyone has come together much better than I can say it, and I do love that, and I think it has shown the strength of what we can achieve together as a community. So that is absolutely awesome. Anything else you'd like to add before we go? Otherwise, I want to ask you to leave. I want to say thank you and ask you to leave, and I want to get the first project on.
Cool. I'm just going to let one of your viewers know there was a question, and I don't like ignoring questions. Just quickly, Diraj, it was my birthday, and obviously I'm going to make the most of saying it was my birthday during COVID, and it's an Aries season, so I'm doing it for the whole season. So yeah, thank you for all being part of this, and the viewers for being a part of today.
Awesome. People watching, don't go away, stay there. I've got the first project coming on in a second. I just want to say a big thank you again to the mentors for not only coming on my live stream today, but also spending the weekend with your teams to produce some awesome projects.
Thank you.
Keep safe.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, you're just back with me now. Bear with me. Let me get the first team on, and I'm really excited to talk tech with you. Let's find out what they've been building, what challenge they were trying to solve, what they've been building. We can maybe bring some GitHub stuff in here as well, their open source project, and let's see what tech they have been using. Let's do it. Let's wait for them to join. So thank you so much for the questions, and I'm so grateful for the mentors picking up some of the questions that I missed. I'm not very good at trying to write questions to the next project team and say you're coming on in a second, and trying to manage the chat. So if I do miss your question and it's like 5 minutes go by, do just write it again. At the moment, don't worry, I won't be upset. If I do miss it, I apologize. But there is time, I think. The hackathon goes on to the end of tomorrow, so there might be time. Some teams might need help with testing, writing more code, etc., designs. So if you want to get involved, I did share a link in the chat. Contact the organisers and see if you can get involved. There is still like 24 hours left, so I'm pretty sure you can. If you can't, there is a hackathon in 2 weeks. It's EU versus COVID, which looks really interesting, and I want to hopefully try and participate myself. If I do participate, I will be live streaming the entire hackathon as I code for the entire weekend. So the first project coming on is almost ready. I can see one person's joined, just waiting for a couple more to join, and it should be good. And have all your tech questions ready, and let's see what they come up with. I did say 6 o'clock to them, so they have got 2 more minutes. Let's give them a bit of time. And yeah, so how has your weekend gone? In the UK, it's a long weekend, so hopefully you've had a good weekend. You've enjoyed the sun, but also been productive as well. Okay, apparently they are ready. Let's have a look. Bear with me, have your tech questions ready. Okay, I only see 1 on, not 2, so I'm a little bit concerned, but we'll see what we can do. And I noticed it holds the last frame from the previous person if the link's not being used. I think we've only got 2 people joining. So let me try and, might have to remove one empty screen that's not being used. Let's bring them on and see how it goes. They might not have their camera on, that's why I can't see them. Okay, enough from me. Yes, we do have 2 people on. Let me remove the 4th placeholder that is from the previous call. Bear with me. This is the first time I try and chop and change from so many different people. It is definitely an interesting experience. Right, okay, so I think I've removed one, so hopefully I haven't busted that for the next one. So thank you both so much for joining. Let's hear more about yourselves, then we're going to talk about your project. So let's go clockwise. Who wants, Ines, go first. I hope I pronounced that right.
Ines, yes. Yeah, so I am quite new with tech. I did a bootcamp at Flatiron last year. I used to work in the charity sector as a project manager, mostly in refugee charities. So it was quite a big change, but it's been really nice having organizations or groups like Women Driven Development creating these events so that you can feel very included in the tech sector. Yeah, that's about me.
Just to jump in there, you definitely belittled it a bit. I go to a lot of events and hackathons in London, and I always see you there. You're always there, you know, taking part, contributing, and I love that. I've seen you at so many hackathons, events, you know, hackathons from Women Driven Development to events by Google, and it's always awesome to see you there and being so involved in tech. So that's great.
Thanks.
So Win, hopefully I pronounced that right. Please introduce yourself.
Hi. Yes, sorry about that earlier. I pressed the wrong button. Classic tech error. I'm Win. I'm a junior front-end developer. Work at a kind of small SME called JustPOC. And I've been kind of like learning to code for like the last 2 years. And then unfortunately during this time I've been furloughed. So yeah, I had loads of time, found the hackathon and thought, well, why not? I've got loads of time. And yeah, so far it's been a really good learning experience. I'm quite new to some of the like techniques, especially with like languages with like React. So yeah, it's been amazing. We've got a really good team, so it's been cool.
And that's awesome. I just need to say like 2 things. One thing, don't worry about not having all the answers, because even when I go to hackathons after 15 years, I'm still always learning. And that's the beauty of hackathons, I think, working with different people, different skill sets, different technologies. And that's really, really important. And The second point I want to make, people watching, you don't have to be a super duper expert with 1,000 years in React and 2,000 years in Angular and all these sorts of things. A hackathon is about taking part and contributing, and your value could be from so many different things. It could be speaking another language, it could be, you know, being a documenter or a different industry, or being an expert in that industry. So not everyone has to be a coder. You don't have to have, you know, hundreds of years experience. My biggest advice to everyone watching is just to get involved in the hackathon. I guarantee you will add value, and I guarantee you will get value out. You will learn so much. So I think it's great that you're both here, and you're both saying you're fairly new to tech, but you're flying that flag and showing that everyone can take part and can contribute. And I'm really excited to hear about your project. Right, so enough from me. Let's hear about your project. So what is the challenge you're trying to solve, and what project are you building?
I'll kick off. So basically, the idea is that we're going to build, we are building an online platform, and we're tackling specifically the education sector. So this will be a place where parents, obviously during this time, it's really difficult for them to help their kids with like learning and engaging them at home, because they can't go to school, where their teachers normally would take on that role, and the kind of remote part for some parents might not work so well with the remote learning. So we want to provide a platform where we can connect parents with resources, and also specifically what we call volunteers or mentors in this case, where if they might, for example, a scenario would be a parent who, you know, actually for myself, growing up, my parents didn't know very much English, so I was born here, so they couldn't really help me with homework. So if a parent doesn't speak English very well, and obviously in the UK the homework would be in English, they connect with a volunteer who maybe speaks in their language, can do some like translation help, some support, and it could vary. It could be offering like tech support as well, because a lot of families are now trying to use like Google Classroom and various technologies that they're not familiar with. So also the volunteers can help out in those aspects as well. So it's kind of really connecting people, families who are struggling with like education related needs, with volunteers who can help. So yeah.
Awesome. And what have your challenges been technically, and what sort of tech are you using? I guess there's two questions there.
Ines, do you want to say
Yeah.
that?
So we've decided to do React on the front end, which Win is participating in that team, and we've done Ruby. We've decided to use Ruby in the back end. I think the challenge has been trying to come up with an MVP in such a short period of time, because we want to do so much, and we want this app to solve so many issues that we just have great expectations of ourselves as well, but it's a short period of time. So it's great that they're open source and everybody can join and participate afterwards, because there will be like a long list of to-dos after this weekend. We predominantly decided to use Rails on the back end, so we could take advantage of authentication gems like Devise, and we've just been using Postman to create test our routes and our different endpoints to create requests, for the parents to create requests and to sign up and everything. But also in what you were saying, that you don't have to be a specialist and an expert in everything. Like, I hadn't used Ruby since I graduated from Flatiron in August, but everybody's been really, really supportive in the team, and every question, there's no stupid questions. So there's a really good balance and mixture of levels of experience. So it's like riding a bike, kind of. Like, I started I haven't used Ruby in so long, but yeah, we've worked it out, and I think it's going great, and everybody has been very chill, which is quite nice.
Awesome.
Wayne, I don't know if you want to talk about the React part.
Yeah, sure. So we decided very quickly that we were going to use an existing library called Semantic UI React, that allowed us to kind of reuse components that have already been built in this library quite quickly. So we can just kind of dump stuff in. Most of it will be like workable, but sizable. So far, probably some of the challenges I think some of my fellow offenders will agree with is trying to kind of make sure it's not just pretty on the page, but also functional. So I've admitted that I'm quite rusty with trying to like do states and props and things like that. So yeah, I've been crying out to some of my teammates and making like sob faces, and they've been super supportive, as Ina said. I think that's for me. I think it's really amazing. Especially I've never worked in a team that's like all women, which basically our group happens to be. And like it's really different from like my normal work environment. It's just like super supportive. Nobody thinks like I'm silly or judging me, or I don't feel like they are anyway. I feel super comfortable, and I can like reach out to people for help. So it's been a really good experience. It's really cool.
That's awesome. It's great to have a team where you can ask the questions, because there's no point getting stuck on something for an hour if someone can just spend a few minutes with you and move it forward. I know on the hackathons that I attend, I asked loads of questions, and like I said, even after 15 years experience, I'm still asking questions and getting help. Sometimes you forget things, right? There's just so much to know in tech. If you haven't used something in, I mean, even you said, I think one of you mentioned like a year or something. If I haven't used something in like a month, it's kind of forgotten about. I roughly remember certain bits or where to look, but even then, when you come to use it, you can get a bit stuck. So it's great that you've got a safe space that you can really excel and just work to your strengths and still learn at the same time. So how many people are there in your team? Let's get a bit of understanding of the consistency. Consistency, is that the right word?
I'm not sure. There's three of us working in the back end. That's what I can tell you.
I mean, our Slack channel has 19 people. I think
we're 19.
Actively, I think we're about 15.
Oh wow, it's quite a big team.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. If obviously I'm counting like people who are UX,
yeah.
And also like we've had some really amazing graphics and like user flows, and also like Latifa and Emily are like experts in the education sector. They've given us a lot of input and content, which otherwise would have just been Latin placeholders and saying blah 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 instead of actual text. So that's been super helpful. So yeah, I think we're roughly about 10 to 15.
That's awesome. That is a really big team. Usually I move teams with like kind of 3 to 5 people, and I find that sometimes still good but quite tricky occasionally as well. But to have 15 active people is great. It's going to be a really interesting project, and I think it gives the project so much more like momentum. Like I think the expression is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with someone. So I think it'll be really good if you get a lot achieved, and like I said, you've got the designs as well as and like wireframes as well as the coding side. We've only got a few minutes left. Do we have time, and can we have a look maybe at your project? Is it on GitHub? Can we have a peek?
Yeah, the front end bit looks at.
What is the link? So if I share my screen now, and then you can guide me through what to type.
Do you want to go for the front end first?
We'll only have probably time for one, so
yeah, just go for the front end. Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. / connect - educate - front end.
Is it connect?
Oh, sorry, and
educate?
also yes.
Okay. Yeah, connect.
Oh, you might need to put my name in front. Sorry.
Oh, it's got your name in front. Yeah, what's your username?
My username's WinSanpan, so WinSanPang.
Sorry, WINSAN.
And then PANG.
PANG / connect educate -
front end. Yeah.
Front end. One word?
Yes.
We'll find out now if it worked. Yes, it works. Okay, awesome. You get some really good support in the chat. I don't know if you've got the YouTube channel open, but D-Raj is saying, huge team, all the best to you. He's asked some questions, but I've asked them in what I was asking you and like asking about tech stack and how many people you got in the team and so forth. But he's been very supportive, so that's awesome. So you're 70 commits already. You've got a description. I really like that. That's awesome. You got a README as well. I'll let you talk through it. Is there a hosted version we can click on and have a look, or not yet?
Not yet. I don't know if you quickly clone it, you can probably get it up and running quite quickly.
I don't think we have time for that, unfortunately.
No, that's cool. But yeah, like basically, if anyone's interested, they can clone it locally. And if you're already set up with React, you just need to run yarn start and install the packages, and it pretty much has everything there. We've got quite a lot of pages so far, so that's pretty good. We're just working out some more functionalities. Mainly working on like the messaging stuff is left. But yeah.
Awesome. If anyone wants to take a look and contribute, this is their front-end GitHub repo. There is a back-end one. We can have a quick peek. I think I want to be late for the next team, but let's just have a look anyway. Come on, it's code, right? We want to have a look. So what is the URL for the back-end?
It's INESGS12 / connect -educate -backend.
You should create an organization and put them both under there.
Yeah, we should.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Awesome. 60 commits as well. Description looks good.
There's no README.
There is a README. It needs a bit more information, like quick start and so forth.
Yeah, no.
That looks good. I'm guessing controllers. Just want to kind of have a look at how many endpoints you've got. API version 1, languages, messages, registrations. So where are you planning to host a project? Are you using any third-party projects like Twilio or anything like that?
I think we were discussing Heroku.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. Well, I better go to the next team. I haven't quite prepped them yet, but I'll send them a message in a second. Thank you both so much for taking the time out of your hackathon time and
Thanks,
joining.
Eddie.
And it was great to have you on my YouTube channel. Hopefully, it's encouraged more people to join hackathons and more people to get involved, no matter what their background, no matter what their experience, no matter what it is, just get involved. Oh, we actually have someone offering now, so I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but Azing is saying, happy to test, please share a link. So
Cool.
yes, I will share the GitHub link, but I don't know if that is the link that is going to be used for testing. I would recommend speaking to the organisers and maybe asking about that team's work. So connect, educate. So speak to the organisers, see if you can join the team and see if you can help test. So thank you for the community for being so supportive. That's awesome. Okay, I'll leave you two in peace. Happy hacking.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye. Whoa, okay, that was team one, and they've achieved quite a lot already. Front end and back end, Ruby on Rails with React, no deployed version yet. Tomorrow you can watch the live demos, not on my channel, it will be on BlueJeans. They're using a privately hosted one, and you'll be able to watch the demos, and that's going to be really, really awesome. So don't forget, contact the organisers, any questions. Let's bring up team two, right? Don't go anywhere, we've got more teams left. And don't forget to give my video a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you get notified every time I publish a video or go live. And when I go to join a hackathon, I want you to join it with me. I want you to help me out. I love pairing with people all around the world, no matter where you are in your tech career. Even if you're not in tech, then I'm more than happy to pair with people. Right, let me just ping the next team and let's get them on. I think we've got 3 people joining from the next team. So I better bring that third box back so we can get them on. Okay, just bear with me while I do that. And it sounds like you're all quite motivated to join the hackathon and help the cause. So let me know what your area of expertise is. It doesn't have to be tech, but if it is tech, let me know. Therefore, if I know any people looking for extra team members and any hackathons coming up, I'll know to reach out and ping you. Oh, the next team is ready. Okay, I removed one person, remember? For the last team, I need to put that person back. So let me try and put them back. There we go. Okay. We have 3 people on, and let me just do that, just in case we do a desktop share and look at some GitHub code. Let me make sure I bring them back on also on that scene as well. Have your questions ready. We're going to find out what they've been working on, and we're going to find out what tech they've been using and what challenges they've been solving. Okay, I think we're good. Enough from me. Let's bring them on. Hello, team 2. How is everything going?
Hi. Pretty good.
Awesome. So what challenge, actually, before we get into that, I'm getting ahead of myself. Please go around and introduce yourself. Let's go clockwise.
Okay. So I am Samra, and I'm not new to tech. I've been in it for like a year. I'm fundamentally an artist. I studied arts and visual design, and started working in UI, and later on found my way to UX, and absolutely loved it. Reading users, making user flows, iterating on the feedback, knowing what they say about a certain thing, and then going back and saying, "Oh my God, this thing completely different." You make one idea and you take it out, and then you get to know, "Oh my God, they did not like this." So stuff like that. And in this team, I worked in the same capacity.
Awesome.
Shall I go next? Yeah, hi, I'm Prabjeet. I work as a producer on a project that's called Voice and AI. It's something that the BBC is doing regarding kind of building an Alexa version of BBC called Beeb, and we're populating bits and bobs of that. So that's my day job. Been doing kind of a few hackathons here and there, but I don't have like hardcore tech skills. But my job is just kind of helping bring things together.
Cool, but how having hardcore tech skills adds so much value to the team, as I was mentioning before. I want to repeat again. The hackathons I have won is where half the team haven't been the hardcore tech people, because where we have been like 4 or 5 hardcore tech people, I don't know that expression, but I'm going to use it anyway, we've lost because we haven't thought about the user, we haven't thought about the demo, we haven't thought about anything. We just want to develop something really techy that doesn't really solve the problems. Like ends up with this over-engineered Frankenstein that someone just wanted a bicycle go from A to B, and we built a rocket to go to the moon, but it didn't really leave the drive. So no, having a mix of skills is really important. So that's awesome. Right, sorry, next person.
My name is Sitara Zafar, and I'm a product manager. I've done hackathons, 2 other hackathons before. They're fun, so I was really excited to get involved in the COVID-19 one. I didn't know what to expect with the virtual. I've always been in person, and the energy is just different. But it was really great working with these ladies. We still were able to keep the energy going, so had a great experience. And just, for myself, I know a little bit, like I've taken basic kind of coding React Firebase, and for me it's all about knowing enough so I could connect the dots as well, and really getting the idea validated, customer feedback, creating the surveys right out the gate, not waiting until we create an MVP kind of thing.
Absolutely. Awesome. Okay, that's great. So we've got 3 awesome people from the team.
Oh, it's called Bubbles, but we used to be called Safe Alert, but now our name is Bubbles. And yeah, the reason being, the genesis of that is, the problem we're trying to solve is a safe way to alert, whether it be, family members, friends, or service providers that are in a nonprofit organization for domestic violence or human traffickers. And so it's just trying to create a safe alert system for them between the user and the service provider. And so Bubbles is a game. It's a gamified kind of front end. Nobody can tell what the user is doing. They play the game, they connect a couple of bubbles, and it sends different notifications based on the bubbles that they connect.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So, and what sort of tech are you using?
Uh, so basically, we don't have someone to code it for us yet. I hope that this forum will give us someone to do that, because the cause is really big, and it's for something really important in the community. It happens everywhere. So as a UXer, I use Sketch to wireframe, and InVision I used to show a demo of how the app would be. I've not used the UI elements as such, like I've not used it to the complete length. It's a basic MVP of what will be happening and how the happy path will be.
Cool, and we're going to bring up your demo in a second. We've had a really good question by Azing. Hopefully I've pronounced it right. What is MVP? And thank you very much, Sarah, for replying. It's anyone watching is minimal viable product. So it's like
Yeah.
bare minimum just to get something working. Shall we bring up your wireframes?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
And then maybe we can talk through that. Okay, so fingers crossed. Hopefully this works.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
so
driving.
basically,
You're gonna have to direct
yeah,
me.
so you go and tap on the screen for this one. If you go wrong, it will let you know where you have to go. So keep tapping. So here we land on a page where you can find the service people, the people who are going to be there for you in case you need them, the SP people, and you go next. And then you go and click the question mark. I'll let you know why. So when you come here, you see all these alerts, and they all stated as escalated, amber, safe, additional support. So just for the people to see, if you go on this and you tap on it, it's just one iterator at the moment. So it will let you know what it is. It's basically for the SP people who are going to go and take some action for the user, for the victim. Then you go and tap on view. Yeah. So here we have people on the everyday basis. Like Alina has a high alert, so you absolutely have to respond to her there and then. Then you have Maya, who's on amber, so you will go and be like, okay, she needs support. We have to be on high alert for her. And then Ray is like safe, so she's good to go. And then the Belinda needs to have some assistance, so you'll actually approach her through some means. And you go on tap on the weekly one, please. So here you have individual tags open for them. So like Alina on Monday or Wednesday or on a Tuesday, how was she going throughout the week? And that will basically have an idea of how she's been throughout the week or the month, apparently. Now you go export list. So I've not made the page for that yet, but if you say export to Excel, your file and your entire sheet will go to Excel then. You can just go for home and that's done.
And this is for the service provider. So this is what the back end for them to set up, how, for the clients that they have or the victims or the survivors that they've already made contact with, that they've talked to, and they told them about this app. This is kind of the back end data that they would see.
And
so the user,
right now, we do have some more screens to add in. We had a chat. We had some people go through it, and we have some insights. So we're going to update it and add some nice UI elements to it to make it more nicer and functional and something they can actually use and have some nice input to it. Yeah. But we need a developer, so please join us.
Well, we have, I think, lots of developers watching. So the people watching, if you want to get involved, this will be an open source project. I have shared the link in the chat to the hackathon event. It finishes tomorrow evening, and you can get involved.
And the cause is really big, actually. Like, it's not something you can get by easily. So saving lives and people, and actually asking them to come out of that entire state of trauma. It's not just about being hit by someone. Somebody can be in bad area of sexual abuse. Like, it can be really traumatic.
I don't know if you have the.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you.
I don't know if you have the user. It would be good to go through the user wireframe because that's the game. So if you could maybe go to that link, and then Prabjeet could go through and run through what that looks like. That would be helpful.
Sure. What is the link? You might have to ping it to me on Slack.
Yeah, can do.
It is on Slack, actually.
Yeah, I've already shared it across.
Just
you can
copy
tag me
it.
in it as well, or send it to me directly. And everyone watching, don't forget to ask questions If you have any questions about how they get involved, or you want to mention your skills you have, or just any questions just only about the hackathon, about this app specifically, do ask. Okay, I think this is the one.
So, yeah, similar login. Nope, I think that's still the old version.
I've tagged you in the new one that I just sent in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we've used InVision for this. So if anyone is trying to know how it was done, it was made on InVision app.
Okay.
So this looks like
Sorry.
it's the service, user kind of version. So a lot of the challenges with this project was trying to identify what are the details that the minimum amount of details that we need the user to log in and start using the app, and how we can make it secure and discreet. So essentially, you kind of have just login details, and then if you go to the next, it should take you to who you'd like to play with. So this would be essentially, maybe another person who you want to add to the alert system. If you go to the next page.
Do I click on Let's Play?
Yep, yeah, let's play. So kind of like a game, it would show you a little instruction manual, kind of like a little practice run where you are given a sheet like this, bubble page. And essentially, this is our kind of first surface of which the game operates. To a lay user who doesn't know what this app is about, it would just look like this is the main game. However, this is an access screen so that you can type in a passcode. So kind of like how you on your phone enter a PIN to get in, you enter a sequence of colored bubbles that relate back to the service provider. That should take you to the next layer. So if you get that code correct, it takes you to the next layer of it. So if you click into the next round. Yeah, so then it takes you it does that little instruction kind of trial game, if you like, and then it says let's play. So you click through again and again, right there. So this is the actual notification layer of the game. So for example, dragging 3 red dots or 3 purple dots is what is going to notify the service provider, so the caseworker who's dealing with this person who's facing domestic violence within the home. So for example, we said, it wouldn't be something that, a kid would randomly just pick up and play on their mum's phone. It would require 3 consecutive green strikes, say, of the 3 bubbles saying, right, okay, that is a green signal for the day. And essentially, if you click over to next, then it just says, thank you for playing. And again, the language here used is discreet. It's not trying to let anyone know that this is a app that informs anything about domestic violence within the home. That's to protect the user. So I think the biggest challenges, that we had within this project was, what details to include. What happens if a child gets hold of it? What happens if an abuser gets hold of it? What happens if an abuser downloads this app and tries to figure out what it does? And the other challenge was the route to market. We can't just have random people downloading this. We need only just the people needing the app to download it. And then we also had to configure for the service user, as in the person facing the problem, and the service provider. So that was, the multiple.
Oh, we've lost her. Okay, well, we'll carry on. I was just going to ask, I know time's running out, I don't want to take too much time out of your hackathon time. So I'm keen to know about the makeup of your team. How many people do you have in your team, and what are the skills that they have?
We have 5 people on our team. So we have 2 UX designers, myself, product manager, and PUBG, and another person who's like project management. So we have 2 similar kind of skilled people on the team, but it hasn't. We've had enough work to kind of go around, so it hasn't felt like, we've had too many of the same type of skills. Yeah, we are lacking that developer, but because it's only 2 days and we have to create a prototype, I think just getting that wireframe and getting it tested for what it should be and what information should be on there has been really important. And we've been keeping pretty busy at doing that. We haven't felt the lack yet. But yeah, again, it's going to be really handy to get that developer in.
Yeah. To
Of
finally have
course.
the app there for like someone to use it and actually go through the entire process.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think wireframes is really good to walk through it, but it's also when you kind of get it in an app form, it just feels more real to you. And I think that's yeah, I think that's important. But there's still 24 hours left, so if anyone watching want to help out and build what they saw as the wireframes in an app, then contact the WDD organisers. The link is further up. If you need it again, let me know. But it's really interesting to see what people are building. And I think there are 6 teams we're going to show you. This was, I think, the second team. By no means in the positions, just like in the order that we're bringing people on. The final demos are tomorrow evening, and the link is on the on the Women Driven Development socials on Twitter. So thank you so much all for joining, and I mean, it looks awesome. It really, really looks good. And hopefully you'll continue the project after tomorrow as well. And I know there are some more hackathons coming up. So I wonder if you can take your hackathon project from this one and continue it in another hackathon as well. With the same team, maybe bolstering up your team with a few more developers and so forth. So it will be interesting.
Yeah. Really good. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Have a great remaining 24 hours. Good luck with everything. I really look forward to seeing the final demo.
Okay, thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Right, everyone watching, don't go away. We've got team number 3 coming on. We're continuing, so we're almost halfway through showing you the teams and the projects. So let me just message the other team and let me bring them on. Let's hear from them. This is all new to me. I don't know what the teams are working on. I don't know who's in the teams or anything like that. This is all new to me. So I'm hearing it firsthand, just like you. So let's ping the next team. I think their name is What's In. So yes, when they're ready in a few minutes. So how have you thought, from what you've heard, what do you think of a virtual hackathon? Will you join one in the future? Have you joined one already? It'd be interesting to know. Tibor, thank you so much for the positive feedback, saying mind-blowing. It is really amazing what the teams have done at the moment, it's like a day and a half, right? They started yesterday morning. So it is kind of 36 hours what they have built, trying to understand the challenge, trying to then make a team together. So people weren't in teams beforehand. So they've had to understand the challenge. They have to meet other people, see what skills they've got, see what skills work well together, and join. So I think we have 2 people ready. We're waiting, I think, for 1 more. If not, we will start, because I know I'm a bit behind schedule. You know what I'm like, I talk too much, and we're talking about hackathons and code. I just keep going. Okay, enough from me. Let's bring the next awesome team on. Do we only have 2 people joining? Shall I remove the extra square, or is there a 3rd person joining? Aha! We have 3 people for team number 3. Thank you so much for joining.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
I think the best thing to do now is if you all introduce yourself. Let's go clockwise.
Is that me? Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
All good.
Brilliant. My name's Sarah. I'm a .NET developer. I'm a contractor. So I've got about 8 years in the industry. And for this project, I've been working mainly on the back end. So on the API side of the application.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Evie. I'm a full stack .NET developer as well. I changed careers from teaching to software engineering about 2 years ago. And I've been focusing a lot on test automation in this project and the back-end engineering of it as well.
Oh, awesome. Sounds exciting. So testing as well. Oh, we'll get back to that.
Hi, I'm Dagmara. I've got just under a year of experience as a full stack PHP developer, currently learning React, and I've been looking after a little bit of UX design and a front end, yeah, API
That
calls.
That sounds awesome. I love it how, again, so the third team that's coming on, you're all quite new to the industry. And I love that because it shows that hackathons are for everybody. And that's one of my goals for my YouTube channel. I go to various hackathons around Europe and around the world. And I want to show people that hackathons are from everybody, even if you're in tech or not in tech. I think it's, again, I'm going to repeat this. I'm going to repeat this every time a new team comes on, because I know new people are joining the live stream and so forth. But the hackathons I have won have where the team have not all been the same skill set. The hackathons I've lost is where we've all had the same tech skill and we've all just focused on making it engineeringly awesome, but practically it was just some weird Frankenstein that the user wouldn't want. So I think it's awesome to get the different technology. So PHP was mentioned, .NET was mentioned, React was mentioned, and to have the different experience. Someone mentioned they were a teacher. I love that because that can just bring in so many more skills and different contexts and views into the mix. So that's great. So awesome to hear about all of you and your backgrounds. Tell us more about the project. So what is the challenge you're trying to solve, and what project are you building to solve that challenge?
So what's in is a web app that essentially allows people to search for a product. So say somebody wants to buy bread from the supermarket, they'd put in bread in the application, and it would call our API, which would tell them the stock levels of bread in various different shops in the location that they find themselves in. And we're getting that location from the metadata of the image, that they can take an image of the product thereafter.
Awesome. And I think I've seen people mention ideas like that in LinkedIn and other live streams that I've done. So it's great to hear that you're building that. And oh yeah, that's just awesome. That is really good. And I hopefully I can give a little bit of a demo. And so can we hear about the tech stack? I know a lot of people watching are always interested in the tech side. So what tech are you using? I guess we can guess, but let's just reiterate on that.
So I can give a bit of information about the API itself. So it's written in .NET Core, using the standard API-based controllers for routing. So we've got the standard GET requests. We've got a couple of example links, although at the moment they just spit out a bunch of JSON. The idea is it's kind of like a decoupled or like a headless approach. So this could be used by as many different clients as you want. So at the moment we've got a React client, which I guess Evie or Dagmara, you can chat about that.
So that's quite cool actually. I've not built something like this before, with the headless approach thing to making a service. So essentially the React app does a fetch, as far as I've seen, to our service, which is hosted on, what was it again? Where's it hosted?
Oh, it's on just a WinServe, yeah.
WinServe.
It's really cheap. It's like £3 a month. So.
So it does a fetch to the service and gets a JSON object in response. Do you want to expand on that, Dagmara?
Yeah, so at the moment is not very advanced stage, the front end. So managed to make a call, but the idea is that we will get a majority of information which we can then map using Google Map Canvas, which will then show the nearby locations of the shops which hopefully have in stock the product that has been tagged by other users. And in terms of location, at the moment we're working on actually just passing the parameters of latitude and longitude to the API, so that can be dynamically rendered for each user.
Awesome. And how is the functionality going? And how much of it have you got working? So if someone was to use it now, is it something they could use, or could data be sent in, or can it be read at the moment? What sort of stage are you at?
Yeah, so the API has a number of functioning calls. So you can you can add a product. I'm just actually finishing off the photo, extracting the geolocation data from an image, so that's almost ready. So at the moment you can add a product by name. You can pass in the longitude and latitude and the shop name, and it'll store that in the database. And then you can request a number of. So if you're looking for a product, I should probably share. I can share a link. So if you're looking for bread, it'll bring back all of the products it's got in the database with bread in the name, and pinpoint it, or it'll pass back all of the product locations, and then the client then can render using whichever map service they're using. They can render it on a map, and you can see where the nearest item is. It also comes with a timestamp, so you can see when that was last uploaded. So obviously, if someone posted like bread or cheese last week, then chances are it's probably not there.
That sounds really good. And do you have any real-time communications going on, or is this more as the user asks for things?
Real time in the sense that it's as soon as you post it, it's available straight away.
Yes. So does it notify, I guess, someone's got the app open, or is it? Did you say it's a web app? If they've got the web app open, do things update automatically, or do they have to like refresh and then call, or do a new search to call for more data?
That's a question for the client, I guess.
Yeah. So at the moment we actually don't have any functionality to go with that, but I think it would be just a small delay because of asynchronous calls in general. But yeah, it would be, yeah, there wouldn't, like, I don't see why we couldn't actually render it quite quickly.
Awesome. Sounds exciting. Can we look at some GitHub links? And we've only got a few minutes left. Do you think we have time to look at some GitHub projects?
Yeah. Where did we put it?
If I go to GitHub and you can read me maybe the link, and I can bring it up on the screen. Or you can Slack it to me.
Oh, here it is. It's a really long. I just put it in the Slack channel. Sorry, it's really long.
That's fine, no problem. Let me see if I can bring it up.
There you go. Just put it in the channel.
Okay. Try and find it. Remind me which channel? I've got so many open.
What's in? Where?
What's in?
What's in? Thank you.
I could take on Watson looking for something.
Got you. Cool.
That's the badger.
Oh, you want to look at the develop branch because the master's looking a bit wafer thin.
That's fine. That all sounds good. So working in develop branch, so you're raising pull requests. I see. Oh, this is good. I'm getting excited now. I know the techies on the stream are going to get excited too. So people watching, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Hopefully we can get them answered before we go on to the next team. I am conscious of time. I've got a make file as well. I'm liking this.
Oh yeah, we must thank.
Yeah. Who's
I
that?
can't remember his
Matthew.
name. Yes,
Our
that's
friend
right.
Matthew
Yeah.
contributed that. Cheers.
Yeah, we must give a shout out to Bella as well. There was a lady called Bella who's been helping us, and she's been brilliant, but she couldn't stay. But thank you, Bella.
And Claire. Big love to Claire.
Oh, Claire. Yeah, and Claire. Claire did our
She's been
logo
designing
and our branding.
our logo.
Oh, can I see it hosted anywhere? You haven't got a hosting link yet.
The service is hosted, but not the full application yet.
Okay.
No, we haven't deployed the front end yet.
No problems. So people, watch this space, follow on Twitter if you want to, and star this project if you want to see where it goes. But it's looking good. You know, they've got the front end, and I'm guessing this is the back end side. So yeah, it's all
We
looking
can
good.
show
Remind
it.
me what. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, if you have a look in the channel, if you want to share it, it's an Adobe link. It's what the app will look like when we finally host the client.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's
Cool.
yeah.
Juicy. Look at that
So yeah, this
juicy
is like a
hamburger
basic
menu.
wireframe
Whoa.
which would show you that which will show you what would be like the basic work, the flow of the app for the user.
I like it. It looks good. I love it that you've got the wireframe so people can get an idea of what to expect. And how is it going? So it sounds like you're. Do you think you'll get done for the end of tomorrow?
The API will
will.
definitely be finished.
Will.
We've just got one more. Yes, is the answer.
You're going to smash it, Eddie.
Perfect. That was a test, and you answered correctly. So that's what I like to hear.
What's in's Banter Central.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let me just check the chat if there's any more questions. If any of you would like to say anything at the end, just closing note. I want to leave you in peace in like a minute or two, so you can continue working on your awesome project. But if you'd like to add anything, please feel free to add it now. And I'm just going to read the chat and just check if there's any questions.
Thank you so much to WDD for this wonderful opportunity, and all the events they do are wicked. I love them. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I have to say it's my first hackathon, especially done remotely, and it certainly won't be the last. And thank you so much, Evie, for inviting me.
That's awesome. I've put the Women Driven Development logo below at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, nice.
They run some awesome events, and I've been to quite a few of theirs, and it has been great. And I love it that they've organised this hackathon, and hopefully they'll put another one on in soon, and we can continue on these projects. I did say to the other team that there are some other hackathons on a similar subject coming up in the next few weeks, and I wonder if your team, you might. I'm not organising it, so I don't know, but you might want to get your team and your project to go to that hackathon and continue working on your project. Maybe get some other people to give some input and so forth. But thank you all so much for taking the time out of your hackathon time and sharing your project. And I think people watching have had a really good time. The one last question, Diraj asks, is it a web app or a native app? I think it's a web app, if I understand correctly.
Web app, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There is like a vague plan at some point to maybe translate it to React Native, so it can actually work natively for both Android and iOS. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. First need to keep it up and running.
Awesome. Well, good luck. All the best. Look forward to seeing the demos tomorrow evening. And thank you again for coming on my channel and sharing your stories and your adventures. All the best.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Everyone who's watching, stay on the live stream. We've got team number 4 coming up next. Don't go away. And while you're waiting and while I'm messaging the other team to join, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And if you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you get notified every time I go live or post a video. And it's all about the community, open source and tech. Awesome. Cross-platform is much better though. I'll let you all chat in the chat. Put some questions in, chat between yourselves. Give me 30 seconds. Let me bring the next team up. Okay. Let's have a look. I have some notifications. Some teams are eager to join. Bear with me. Just, managing all these different conversations is a good learning curve for me. So today I'm not learning too much around coding, but I am learning around trying to manage this all. Okay, so hopefully the next people have joined. They haven't joined yet. So what are your thoughts on hackathons and virtual hackathons? There is a hackathon coming up, I said, in a few weeks, which is EU versus COVID. So I'm actually thinking of trying to take part or mentor. Let me know what you're thinking. Are you thinking of taking part too? If I do take part, I will live stream the entire team for the entire weekend. And if I mentor, then I'm really keen to live stream a bit like I am now. Let me know if it is useful, and what other kind of, I guess, viewpoints you would like to see, what other contexts you'd like to see. I'm trying to keep a balance between high level and technical. So let's see. I think we have 2 people on, and we're expecting 3. So let's just give them another 30 seconds. Don't go anywhere, and we will get them to join. And we're going to, again, ask them about what challenge they're trying to solve, what tech they're using, and just hear more about the virtual hackathon experience. And we'll do a demo, if we can, of their project. And it's awesome to see the positive feedback we're getting in the chat. I love that. Keep that coming. And if you've said it once already, don't forget the next team haven't seen it. So do say that again and give any suggestions or any feedback on their projects as well. Okay, I'm going to bring the next team in. We're expecting 3. Let's see how it goes. So team number 4, how are you doing? I think we're missing one person.
Yeah, I haven't joining. So I'm not sure if she's joining or if she can't make it after all.
Okay. Okay, I'll leave it frozen because if I remove it, they won't be able to join. So I'll leave it frozen. They might join in a few minutes. So please introduce yourself, go around clockwise, and then I want to ask you more about your project, your exciting project. I'm really excited.
So my name's Naomi. I've been working with Amir, who's also on the call, with this project called NHS Roll Call. The aim of NHS Roll Call has been to create an app for NHS staff, but I guess we might go into it in more detail in a bit. But a bit about me is that I'm a UX designer, so Amir will be filling you in on all the sort of tech side of things. Yeah, you go, Amir.
Oh, is it me? I thought we were going clockwise. Yeah, my name's Emir. I'm a front-end developer primarily. I do kind of do full stack, but on this project, Rose is doing the back end in Scala. We've got 2 separate GitHub repositories for it. So I'm doing the front end. I've yet to do some CSS, but mainly I'm turning Naomi's wireframes into something that kind of minimally works. That's me.
Awesome. This sounds really exciting. And so what sort of tech stack is being used?
I'm using Vue.js because I've been playing with it recently. I don't really like Angular. It's too far away from the native stuff, and there's been some really exciting developments in the native stuff. And Vue just uses a lot of stuff that excite me. I had the idea ages ago of doing bindings with proxies, and I packed it for a while, but then I saw an article from a V8 engineer. She was saying she'd addressed the problem of the weight that the proxies had, and she'd done a lot of things to speed it up. So I went back to it and I released a module called Conjoiner, and I had a path for it, a kind of roadmap in mind. But then when there's that announcement from the Wikimedia Foundation that they'd chosen Vue.js, and I liked Vue.js's philosophy of you can use as much or as little of it as you like. It's kind of nice. You can use anything native you want, but you can still get the good bindings and stuff from Vue. And it seems ideal for this, where the data is going to be changing in the model, and you need to reflect that in the user side. So I settled on Vue.js, and Rose is making the backend, as I said, in Scala. I think she's using a framework called Play, but you have both our repositories, I believe.
Awesome. So you mentioned some really good things about Vue. On my YouTube channel, we do discuss a lot about Angular versus React, and Vue doesn't come up a lot, which is quite interesting because I think Vue's the best of both. And just to give you a bit of kind of background, I prefer Angular over React because it's the full framework, and most of the time you need all the other pieces, not just the view that React gives you. So it's interesting to get some Vue input on the channel, and yeah, maybe we'll have another stream in the future. We dig in some really detail in that. I know we haven't got a lot of time today. So tell us more about I guess your process as a team, like what's the makeup of your team? How many people have you got, and what skill sets, and how has the process been? You did mention the wireframes getting done, and then you're building it into the front end. While you talk about that, I'm gonna try and find those links as well.
So the project originally came out of sort of the idea I entered the idea about how NHS staff have to manage rotas. They're really complex. Different kinds of doctors are coming in and out of hospitals at different times, and so it's a complex process and it's very manual. And another thing that the project was aiming to tackle was the reporting about how COVID-19 is affecting NHS, so how many staff are off because they're being impacted by it themselves or because they can't care and similar issues. And a bunch of people joined the team, which was so, as I mentioned, I'm a UX designer, Amir is working on ends and Rose on the back end, but we've also had a few other people helping us. So Yang has been working on the reporting side of things. I'm definitely missing somebody. I'm also missing the last person who was on the call. She has been working on cyber security for us. So it's been a really eclectic bunch of people. Everyone's got such different skills, but it's been great to come together as a team.
Awesome. The first team to mention cyber security. Okay, this is getting interesting. Okay, maybe let's just bring up your GitHub project and have a quick look. I'm sure you've got more than one repository, so you might have to share them in the Slack with me again if you can tag me so I can find it. But I've got one link that I found, and I'm going to just bring that up now. But if you can share, and also the wireframes as well, that would be great. So if I switch my screen to here, and then in theory, we should all animate to the side, and my screen should appear, and it kind of works, so that's okay. I'm happy.
The fact that there's...
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, the fact that there's absolutely nothing in the README tells you that that is my handiwork.
We can see your name on here, but you're right. Yeah. I think I need to raise an issue. Everyone watching, this is how you make a contribution to an open source project. Remember, it's not just about code, but please add a README. There we go. That's my open source contribution for today. I got a green square for it. Look, I'm sure I did if I refresh this. Look, no green square today. Now I've got a green square. There we go. All is good. This is awesome. So I guess it's not deployed yet, so we can't actually see it. But I did see a link come through where I saw, thank you Naomi, sent me a link so we can see some wireframes. Everyone watching, don't forget to write your questions in the chat and I'll check that in a few minutes.
It's not started at the beginning. I'm not sure why. It's the way.
Is this not correct?
It's not the beginning. Okay.
That's the one.
Is that better?
Yeah, and that's not the beginning. I'll send it to you.
Oh, I'm liking these alerts as well. Okay, I've got another one. Let me close this on. I'll come back.
Yeah, there we go. So I can't do it. It's a start. If you sign up as an administrator, it should work.
Okay, awesome. I'm liking this clean design. What did you use to build this?
So the designs were originally got in Sketch, and then I did the prototype in Figma.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, you can't enter any data, but if you just click the buttons, it will get you through. And then you can view the rotors and you can update your fitness to work.
Able to work. No, I can't work. Nice. Yeah, that's true. There are some other reasons, right? It's not just about being unwell. There are childcare reasons and other caring responsibilities. Really like that. Looks good. So how's it coming along? Do you think you'll get it built in time for tomorrow?
I think at the moment I'm ploughing my way through the routes, learning how to use the Vue.js router. So I'm kind of getting there. I sort of went down a a widget-shaped rabbit hole yesterday, and most of the serious work has been today. And sometime, hopefully, I think the widget will reappear when it comes to inputting dates. But all of today, I've been focusing on getting the environments, getting the grant file going, and getting. It wasn't even a node package yesterday, so it is now. All those kinds of things. And this evening, I'm kind of plowing on getting all the routes done. I'm about 3 steps into the sign-up process, I think, at the moment, but that's happening quite fast.
Awesome, it sounds exciting. I love the challenges that hackathons bring. I always find that everyone benefits not just from what the projects that's built from it and the ideas that come out of it, but also the skills that we all learn as individuals and collaborating with other people. So I'm guessing this is not your first hackathon.
It is my first hackathon, yes. I've been a developer for a long time, and when I started back in the 20th century, a lot of it was doing pitches for work because nobody had websites, and we were kind of banging on the doors of all these people. So it was very hackathon-y, the whole industry at the beginning of the thing, really. It was one long hackathon, not much sleep involved. But so, yeah, this is my first sort of formal hackathon, and it's been an intense experience. And in this time when we're all kind of stuck away from our normal routines and things that we do, it's a good absorption of your time and energies, really.
What about yourself, Naomi?
The only hackathon I've done before was actually a UX only hackathon, so it was quite different, as well as sort of the usual being in the same room and actually meeting the people you're working with. So this is presented like a whole host of other challenges, checking in with people you've not met before and working together. It's been really great, but there's also the additional challenge for me where UX, we were all just sort of designing it and building it, and but you didn't actually necessarily have to make everything work because there wasn't the whole development side of things. But I know that's not how hackathons normally go, so it's been good to sort of work with Amir and work with Rose and the others as well.
Awesome, that's so good to hear. And so will you be attending more virtual hackathons in the near future?
I think, yeah, one of the things that I've really enjoyed about this is the way that the communication has gone, that Rose and me needed to settle on kind of objects that were exchanged in the API, and that happened. Everybody contributed into that because we made them public, and we kind of reset and refocused every time we needed clarification on our goals, and that's been a good process, and it's happened very fast.
Awesome, that's great to hear. Well, I want to leave you in peace. I'm going to let you get back to your hackathon. All the best and good luck. Looking forward to seeing the demo tomorrow with the final project.
Thank you very much.
I will. Everyone watching, still stay on the live stream. We've got a couple more teams still to go, so we'll just say thank you very much, and we'll wish them all their best, and we will see your demos tomorrow.
Cheers.
Right, so let me message the next team. Let's get them on. Get your questions ready. Hopefully I haven't missed any questions in the chat. If I have, please write it again. And let me message the other channel. Chat between yourselves. Let me know what hackathons you're attending. Okay, let me see. Get loads of messages through. I hope it's not, any teams saying we haven't got time. Okay, so I'm getting some messages. There are teams are working away really hard. If you've been to a hackathon before, you know that it's kind of you're working every second, every minute that you've got, you're working towards it. You don't want to get distracted. So some of them are saying they're coming a few minutes late. So let me just tell them to join as soon as possible. So yes, they're coming soon. Let's have a look and see how the links are. Aha! They are ready. Okay, we've only got one person joining, so let me remove one of the squares, and therefore it will make sense rather than having an empty square on the screen. Oh, I can't even talk right. I'll be no good in a hackathon at the moment. Right. Let's go. Hello. Thank you so much for joining my live stream. Uh-oh, is it frozen? That doesn't look good.
Ah,
They're
finally.
back. Hello, how are you doing?
Good, thank you, WDD. There should be one more person actually. Rachel is trying to join as well with the link that you sent.
Oh, okay. Let me
Oh,
allow
she
them to
has
join.
joined the link as well. Does she need a different link?
No, the link that you had before should be fine. I've removed it off
Okay.
the screen because I thought you were joining by yourself, but I should be able to put it back.
Okay.
When she joins, hopefully it updates. So, is that the right one?
So there's two of me now.
Oh, no, I had the wrong one. Ignore that one. No, I
Okay.
haven't had much technical trouble so far, so this is obviously, me having some technical issues, so everyone can kind of laugh. No, that's the wrong one. No, wrong one. I don't think they've joined yet. I'm using, that's you again. So I don't think they've joined yet. No, they have not joined yet. Do you just want to ping them on Slack and just check to see if they're ready to join? If not, we'll continue without them because we've still got another team afterwards, and then I know the organisers want to do a kind of a closing shout out to all the other people helping out. So everyone watching, you see me having some technical issues. Bit of fun, right? It's the first time, if you've been to my streams before, it's the first time I'm chopping and changing with different people, so it's quite interesting and challenging. Oh, now I've lost everybody, so not doing so well now. Let me go back to Slack and see how they're getting on. Lost them. Frozen. Okay, I'm not frozen, who am I kidding? I think you are frozen. Please refresh and rejoin. We're going to talk about their project, we're going to talk about their tech. Do you have your questions ready? Okay, we've got a second person joining.
Okay, it looks like I'm back.
Aha, you're back. Okay, awesome. Don't go anywhere this time.
Okay. No, it's not me.
I'm joking. It's fine. We haven't had much technical issues, so let's go. I'm just writing to Rachel, who's also trying to join.
Okay.
But,
So it is not just me. I thought it is my connection.
Okay, let's have a look and see. I don't think I've got Rachel coming through yet.
She says that she has joined the link.
No, there's two of you again.
Oh,
You've got a
really?
twin.
But that's not nice.
No, I
Oh,
don't
now
think
there's
so.
someone else.
No, this is the previous person, so that's just a frozen
Oh,
person
okay.
of who it was.
She says that she has joined, so it looks like she's already in the channel.
Okay, I might have to, let me see what she's joined. It's hard to debug while I'm
Yeah,
trying.
of course. It's not the same link that you sent me.
It will be a different one for her, yes, that's fine. There were 3 links in total. So I think we're unfortunately going to have to go on without her. Otherwise, I'll spend the next 10 minutes debugging.
Have you sent the new link to her?
There isn't a new link. There is the same links as before. And she's, I don't know why it's not joining.
Okay, we only have one link though, so you might need to send the second one to
Oh, I
our
see,
channel.
right, okay.
I think that
That's
is
why
what
you
is
freeze.
creating this whole issue, yeah.
Okay, because there was
Probably
only one
it
of you
is,
joining originally.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, right. No problem. We'll get there. Thank you everyone for watching and being patient. It wouldn't be a live stream without some technical issues. You cannot use this. Okay, let's hope this works and we will get, oh no, you've frozen again. Having some fun, right? I'm glad everyone's still with us. Right, okay.
I am back again.
You're back again. Hopefully you don't go anywhere this time. And then when I go through these links, hopefully it will all work. Third time lucky, right? Is this third time or fifth time? I'm not sure.
I have no clue. Ah, there you go. She's here.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Finally.
Sorry.
Awesome. Thank you everyone watching for being patient. Hopefully that was my first technical issue on this live stream. We've been going for over 2 hours. Hopefully no more technical issues. Right, would you both like to introduce yourself? Let's go clockwise.
I don't know what's clockwise anyway. I'll start. Okay. I am Sezen. I am Agile Delivery Manager, and I actually work with Rachel at Costa Coffee.
Awesome.
Oh, in that case, I guess I'll introduce myself. Hi, I'm Rachel, and like Sezen mentioned, I also work at Costa Coffee, and I'm a front-end developer.
Awesome. So it's so good that you work together. So who found out about the hackathon first?
I think it might have been me, I think. So another colleague of mine actually posted about the hackathon in our general Slack channel, and then I shared it on with my team, trying to get any more interest in joining. So that's how we kind of got to know about the hackathon.
Hackathons are amazing, but hackathons with friends is even more cool. And then you get to like have a few friends there, a few familiar faces, and you get to meet a lot more people. So that's so good to hear. And so what challenge are you trying to solve today?
So we took it from Amy Collery. She was talking about patients who had COVID and that they stay at home because that's the government suggestion, and they quickly deteriorate and they don't go back to their GP, or they don't inform they don't recheck their conditions. So we are building a web app where they can go through a questionnaire that we put together with the two Amy's, Amy Collery, and I can't remember the surname of the second Amy. And through that questionnaire, there will be a scoring mechanism where the GPs will be able to see the patients who most need an attention.
Awesome. And what sort of tech are you using?
So we're mainly using Firebase for our authentication and our database to store our questions. We are also using Gatsby.js, which is an open source framework based on React. So this is something that most of us are familiar with in the team, which is quite nice. So it hasn't been too difficult to, get into the swing of things. And because it's such, we're time restricted in what we're developing. So in terms of UI and design, we've kind of just used Material UI to kind of speed things up, which has been pretty nice.
Awesome. And how has it gone? So how far are you, I suppose, into the project? Is there a demo that I can bring up via GitHub or something and show? Oh, you're laughing, I'm not sure.
That will be interesting because we normally work together. Everything is in a private people now.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we're having a bit of technical difficulties with our repo as it's currently private. So you won't be able to check out our code at the moment. And we haven't yet deployed our code to any form of environment. So that will be a surprise for tomorrow, I guess, for the live demo. But we can walk through maybe the user flow.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah, I just
think
sent you
I
the
can
link,
send the
Eddie.
link. Okay. And
Yeah.
private,
There's a listed
I
charge
don't know
wire
if we can
phrase.
talk. I think I need to end this call and stop talking. My channel is about open source, not about closed source. Why is it still private? Answer me this.
I think that is just an oversight, actually. It was intended to be a private repo. We just realized that one of the engineers is not feeling well, Jay, so he went to join the call, but he can't join now because he's not feeling well. So we didn't have permission either to make it open.
Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye out for it tomorrow, and we'll, yes, want to see the open source code. So I've opened the link that you sent me, but it's asking me to log in.
Oh, really? But it shouldn't ask you to log in. Can you please try this one, the second link?
Okay, no problem. Aha. Activate, accept invitation. Yeah, it wants me to log in again.
Really?
Yeah.
That is Strange.
Okay, no problem. If you can
Okay,
test it
this will
out
be
in
impossible
private
now.
browsing, and maybe we can talk a bit about your team consistency. I keep using that word, it doesn't make any sense. A team makeup, and we can talk about that. But if you can test that in private browsing, that would be awesome. Anyone watching, if you have any questions, don't forget to write it in the chat, and we'll ask the questions. So, how many people do you have in your team?
Okay, we are 5 people in total. We have Rachel, Jay, Remy, and Kaini, who joined us. We haven't worked with her before. She just found the project and found it interesting. So she's working on the front end, and myself. Jay and Remy are looking to back end, and Rachel and Kaini are looking to the front end of things. You want to talk maybe about more of the front end, Rachel?
Yeah, I can kind of, since we don't have any demo to show you right now, I guess I could walk through how the user journey will be. So essentially our plan is that we have 2 views. So you'd have the GP access side of things and also the patient view. So if I just walk you through the patient side. So a patient will receive a link, possibly via SMS, to join up to our application, Tell My GP. They will then follow a set of input fields, your standard first name, last name, email address, password, and also very importantly to select their medical practice. And this is how we will link a patient to their medical practice. Once they've signed up to our application, they will then get redirected to what we call a patient status page. And this will be a page where essentially every day the person will tell us how they feel via a traffic light based system. So green, feeling good, red, feeling very bad. And then they can then decide to follow onto our questionnaire, which Cesar mentioned. And it's essentially a bunch of questions to identify how severe the symptoms are. And depending on how severe the symptoms are, this information will then get sent to the GP and get triaged by the GP. And the whole point is to support the practices to understand which patients require immediate person-to-person assessment. So that's basically the patient flow. And for a GP practice, they would get an email, and in that email they'll get an invite code. So once they go onto the application, they will be prompted to enter the invite code, and that will register them to our application. And as you can see in the user journeys here, the GP will then have a kind of dashboard list view with all the patients in order of the most severe suffering patients. And you can see that this is coded via a traffic light based system. Again, as I mentioned, red, amber, green. And again, this is just to help triage the patients who are suffering the most and to not leave them alone in suffering, So yeah, that's kind of like a high level view of our application from the wireframes that you can see here. Yeah.
Awesome. I've just shared some more wireframes on the screen. So thank you very much for the link. But it looks good. So you've got a nice good workflow. And how far through building this are you?
So we've kind of tried to focus on just getting it to work first. So we still have a lot of styling to do and get it to a good place. But we have pretty much the registration page for both the GP and the patients. We've got also the patient status view, which is the screen with the traffic lights on it. The back-end side of things are still in progress. So at the moment, it's we're just mocking the APIs so that we can get through the different stages of the user journey. And hopefully by tomorrow, we'll have something more functional to demo to you guys. But that's where we are with Tell My GP.
Awesome. Can you remind me what tech you're using again for the front and back end?
Yeah, sure. For backend, we're using Firebase. We're also using Gatsby.js. And then in terms of the UI, we're using Material UI.
Awesome. So, and for the back end, what you plan to use Firebase for the database, right? Got you. Awesome. Yeah. That sounds good. And Firebase gives you
and
that
React
real-time interaction
as well, right, with Gatsby?
Yeah.
Awesome. So you get that real-time interaction, which is great.
Absolutely.
Someone's asked a question in the chat, and they said, when do you think this will be tied into the NHS, and what are the next steps? So after the hackathon, once you've kind of got a working prototype, do you know what the next steps are to give a demo, I guess, to certain people to see if this can be used and help?
Yeah, initially what we discussed was to roll this to the NHS that Amy is working, to the surgery, because she's a GP, to roll it to the GP if it proves to be useful. And then we need to see, how it works and whether it becomes useful or not. But it is quite important, obviously, to be able to roll it to the actual GPs rather than, people who call themselves GPs. So we will need to use the NHS network to be able to find the right GPs and make sure that they're actual GPs.
Makes sense. You're getting some really good feedback, saying that you're presenting confidently, and it looks really good. So everyone's looking forward to the project
Great.
being open source, to being deployed, so they can also have a look at the deployed version as well as the code. Right? My channel is predominantly techies.
Yeah, of course.
They want to look at the code.
You always have one group.
Absolutely.
There's always one group who tries to join on the same link, who says one person's joining, we get two, they're trying to join on the same link, and they can't demo it because it's closed source. There's always one, it's fine. No,
We
it's
can't
awesome
even access it ourselves now to send you the link.
No problem. It's awesome to have you on my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your hackathon time and sharing your project, your challenges, and what you're working on. So a couple of last questions, and then we'll leave you in peace. Is this your first hackathon, or have you been to many before?
I have been a couple before, but none of them were online. So
You
I
took
could
my second
present
question.
myself.
My second question was, how many of them have been virtual hackathons? Okay. So,
None.
I think most people haven't done virtual hackathons, so it's interesting. And how have you found it, both of you?
It's actually been really exciting. For me, this is my first hackathon, so it's actually quite an experience to have my first hackathon as a virtual hackathon. Yeah, just everyone's energy is like the Slack channels are buzzing every day, and it's just crazy that there's so many people out there, as many of the attendees have mentioned, spending their weekend to build something that could essentially become, something that we can roll out to the public that they can use, and it becomes really beneficial to everyone. So yeah, it's really, really exciting times.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
think
And
it's
are
also
you?
really inspirational how so many different problems are presented and how so many different solutions are provided.
And are you? I completely agree. It's amazing how in these difficult times people have joined forces and created this community, and then sub-communities working on specific challenges, and everyone's really working together and pushing forward. I think it's been excellent. I really love sharing this on my channel. And my final question is, when is your next virtual hackathon?
Good question. I don't know. There's anything planned yet.
I think there is. So this one is UK versus COVID hack. I think there is actually a EU versus COVID hack at the end of the month, but I don't know much about it. I only found out about it today, so I don't know if I'm going to participate myself, or if I'm going to mentor and live stream, or whatever. I'm not sure yet. So we'll hopefully all see you soon at some hackathons. Thank you both so much again for taking the time out. We look forward to seeing the presentations tomorrow.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a great evening and be safe.
Bye.
Okay, final team, hopefully no tech issues, and then we'll head back to the organisers. They want to do a kind of a closing note. Thank you all so much for contributing in the chat. Don't go anywhere, because the next team is coming up, and it's the final team. Let's see what they've been working on. Let's see what tech they've been using, and see what challenges they have had. So let me message them now. You can hear me typing away, ready for you to join. Awesome. So in theory, I need to hide one person because we're down to one guest now, and let's see what they've been working on. I'm actually not sure yet, so it's going to be new to me, and it's going to be interesting. Thank you all so much for being so supportive in the chat. You know, write open source in the chat or write hackathon in the chat. This shows your support. I love it. So please, everyone watching, not only give me a thumbs up to the video because that really helps, but also just write hackathon in the chat or open source. Both will make me happy. And if you want to make me super happy, open source hackathon, right? Hackathon is best when it's open source. Right, okay. I think David is here. Let me remove one of the other videos because we only have one guest this time. And then we can talk about the project David's been working on. Okay, let me bring him in. David, thank you so much for joining me on my live stream. Awesome to have you here.
Oh, cheers, Eddie. Thanks for having me. It's been great watching.
Please introduce yourself. Let us know a bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So my name's David. I'm a back-end Java developer in a company called Gentrack. They do billing system software for energy providers. Yeah.
Awesome. And what sort of tech do you use?
Java mostly, a little bit of C# and sometimes Python.
Cool. And what sort of tech are you using today or this weekend?
This weekend I was using Golang and React.
Oh wow! So not technologies that you normally use.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, not technologies I've normally used. One of my other teammates is kind of more familiar with Go, and I was happy to have a go at it, I suppose. Sorry.
Awesome. And how is Go going? Pardon the pun.
Yeah, no, it's grand. It's got its funny quirks that I laughed at, but it's actually quite easy to kind of get used to and know kind of what it's doing and kind of build or create some kind of REST APIs or different things like that quickly enough.
Awesome. And so I've kind of jumped ahead into the tech. Let's hear more about the challenge you're trying to solve and what your project's building.
Yeah, no worries. So the project was an idea from my friend Kayla, who's also part of the team. So looking at last year where it was a year of kind of mass demonstrations, and that has changed now since self-isolation and lockdown, and people will start to have to look at trying to keep these demonstrations and movements alive online. So the idea behind this project was to develop this web application that would be something like an interactive map where an organizer could create a movement and then different people could participate by voting for that movement, and you can kind of watch it grow throughout the year or something like that. But yeah, kind of like assigning their heartbeat to that movement during a set time period for like a demonstration and different things like that. Yeah.
Awesome. So is there an open source project we can look at on GitHub? I mean, I've got so many questions, but...
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, we do have an open source. I can send it through to you.
Yeah, please do.
No worries.
Let's bring it up. If anyone watching has any questions for David, don't forget to write it in the chat.
Brilliant. So to have a live demo, we don't have that ready yet, since we've been kind of working locally and getting like a prototype ready. But we also have, I might send through a quick kind of a Medium article, which I think you should be able to see. Maybe that'll be useful. Which might just show some screenshots and.
Cool. Yes, I can bring that up and we can have a look. So you've got a README. It's looking good. Got a description.
Not too bad. Hopefully it's.
Using Mongo as well. I like this. Using React.
Yeah, using NoSQL. I've never used that before either. So it was fun going from like a relational database perspective.
And you've also got tests as well. Oh, this is just to test it manually, not automated. Okay, got you.
Yeah, it's not automated yet, no.
No, I was going to be surprised if you had time for that.
Yeah, no, we've been quickly just kind of manually testing and be like, oh, it's good to go, merge it, let's go.
Perfect. It's looking good. Let's have a look. So you got server. So I don't think you've, the React stuff hasn't been pushed up yet, has it?
Oh, it is on a separate branch. It isn't on the master branch, unfortunately. So if you go into, yeah, so that hasn't been merged yet. So if you go to React map, there we go.
Cool. You just have both, right? So you've got the Go server. Look at some Go code. I haven't seen Go in years. Let's have a quick peek. So how big is your team? How many people have you got in your team?
There's just two of us actually,
Oh, wow,
myself
okay.
and Kayla. Yeah. So
Awesome.
there's probably some missing APIs there that's in master, but yeah, Go was quite interesting. It was quite clear in kind of how to set up the different routes, different APIs you can create, and then how to access that through MongoDB, which was what was useful for what our case at the moment. But yeah, just to kind of grab like, oh, we just want to grab this movement, maybe just increment the participants on it, take some information like maybe links or articles when we eventually get to that stage, and display it on the actual, I suppose, marker in the interactive map. But yeah.
Awesome. And how's it looking for the deadline tomorrow, like 24 hours from now?
Yeah, so right now, we both focused on the back end, since we're both back end developers, and we were kind of scared of front end until today, which has been fun. But thank to YouTube tutorials and other tutorials online, it was we were able to get something quickly mocked up on the client side. So we just need to. So we have the REST APIs created. On the server side, so that would be like create your movement, update that movement. We also spent time on creating WebSockets. I know there's probably other sources, like I think I heard one of your other interviewers using Firebase, which I saw today, and I was like, yeah, that could have been quite useful.
Firebase does make WebSockets just work out the box. It is really useful in
it
that
just
sense.
goes out of. But you know what, we learned a lot. Kayla spent time on the WebSockets and getting that working. So we were quite proud when we could see that in action, messing with the APIs and doing updates to our database. And the next thing we need to do now, which sounds easier, is to actually just kind of query the APIs through, I think, Axios library on React is our plan.
That sounds about right. I'm an Angular person, so we have the HTTP client already built in. But yeah, with React, you can, being just the view, you can choose whatever you want to use. But yeah, I hear the Axios is one of the popular ones to use with React. So it sounds good. I'm looking forward to seeing the demo tomorrow evening. It all sounds like it's moving along fast, and you've actually got quite a smaller team compared to the other teams. So you're doing really well. That's good. And you're using Go, which is it's pretty hardcore.
It's been fun to learn. It's definitely been learned a lot in the past couple of days, 100%, from using NoSQL databases to Go to trying to hack something in React.
Well, that's good. That's the best way to learn. Just throw yourself at the deep end and just do it.
Yeah. Don't ask me questions on Go or React anyway, because I'll probably not be able to answer them.
So yeah, in Go, let's talk about the concurrency model. No, I'm just joking. Okay, so I've brought up your Medium post. So
yeah. So probably if you scroll down, you might be able to scroll.
WebSockets in Go, nice.
Shot there with the demonstrations. Yeah, WebSockets in Go. Yeah, some terminal screenshots, which people would love, I'm sure. But
I'm gonna
a
leave
lot
it
of
on
work
there,
was
right?
put.
You've got a nice map.
Yeah, perfect.
So you've got a working map already?
So we have, yes, using a leaflet in React. It was pretty easy to kind of set up that and kind of, I think, like an open source maps kind of background, and then you can create markers and apply different data to those markers. So that's when you kind of click on them, you can see that kind of drop up box, which we are hoping to create markers that will kind of increase in size depending on the participants. But we'll see how we go. But yeah, leaflet, React leaflet is very useful.
Awesome, sounds good. It's looking good. Looking forward to seeing how it comes, how it goes along. I'm just going to check in the chat and see what people are writing. I don't know if you've got the chat open as well. Is there any UI drawings? Yes. So we've kind of shown you the map of what's coming along. Connor, thanks for the question. It looks like they focus more on the back end first, and then are working towards the front end. It's interesting to see how different people focus on different areas. I know a lot of teams focus on the front end, and then they don't get time to the back end, and everything's just mocked out. So it's interesting to see different teams. Some work on the front end, some work on the back end. Kayla wrote, unfortunately, neither of us have front-end experience and it came a bit short there. There's a server pretty much ready for use and open to contributions. Yes, people watching, if you want to contribute and you want to help out, these projects are open source. By all means, do get involved. Let me share the GitHub link, and they're more than happy. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to welcome any suggestions, contributions, etc. So I'll just share the link. But it's awesome. I think it's really good. I love the Medium post with the screenshots. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know I'm already running behind schedules. Anything else you'd like to add? I mean, I have 2 last questions, but I'll let you go first if you want to add anything.
Yeah, no worries. I just want to say thanks to Women Driven Development who are organising the event, and I've been to some of their other events before, and it's been great. And I think they did a good job for doing their first virtual, all virtual hackathon as well. So that's all.
I think you're absolutely right. They definitely need a shout out. They'd organised amazing hackathons and they're always so inclusive. So anyone watching, I know they're called Women Driven Development and that's their focus. It's a very safe space, but they are inclusive. So if you do want to get involved, they will definitely welcome you. So my last 2 questions were, well, you've answered one of them already. You said you've been to their hackathons before. So is this your first virtual hackathon now, 100% virtual?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, first virtual hackathon. Yeah, no, it's been good. It definitely, it definitely has its benefits where you can kind of take a break, go out in the garden if you have one, or kind of like chill out a bit. While I suppose when you're in a hackathon, you're constantly on. So yeah, no, it's been good.
Awesome. And when is your next hackathon?
Don't have one in the books, but do you have any resources I could look towards?
Well, someone shared one with me today. I'll give Florian a shout out. Florian works for Google and goes to every hackathon and event possible. I thought I go to a lot, but he puts me to shame. He's actually in the Slack channel for this event because I think he was, AWS shared some free credit for people to use. And I think he got a bit jealous working for Google. So he wanted to share some free GCP credit. And he mentioned so this event is UK versus COVID. He mentioned there is EU versus COVID at the end of the month, which is a kind of similar type of hackathon. I don't know if you can take your existing project and maybe continue it, potentially with new team members who maybe can help focus on the front end and you can add more features. I don't know anything really about it, I only found out about it today, but I'm looking to spend some time at that hackathon. I don't know if I'm gonna participate, mentor, or just vlog it like virtually. We'll have to see, but I'm definitely going to look into it and hopefully I'll see some friendly faces there.
Yeah, sounds great. Cheers, Eddie.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to leave you in peace. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Good luck and look forward to seeing your full demo tomorrow.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Good luck. Bye. Cheers.
Everyone watching, we're going to be finishing soon, but not just yet. Write in the chat. Let me know if you want to get involved in future hackathons. Let me know what your challenges are. How can we help? So we've got a big community of people. How can we help? Are you struggling technically? Are you looking to change careers? Are you what's your next challenge and how can we help? I want to see if I can maybe help and connect you with people or help myself directly. Right, let me get the last, the teams are done now. So look at the organisers on, they just want to do a closing pitch. Let's go. Let's see. I think it's just one organizer, but let's see. I love the support in the chat. You know, Azing saying, "Let me bring that up." I'm pretty sure I can bring that up. Let me see. I've been a bit. Love this. I'm going to work backwards, so bear with me. Mindy is joining, but I just want to kind of share some of these positive comments in the chat on the screen. So I got Connor saying great stuff. Azing, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Connor, you need a profile picture. And same with everyone else. If you haven't got a profile picture, you need a profile picture. But I'm loving these supporting messages. So let's bring Mindy in, and hopefully I don't break this by doing it. Mindy, awesome. Thank you for coming back. I'm sure you've been watching and you've seen the teams just, wow, like they've done lots of great work. It's so exciting. So it's great to have you back here. I know you wanted to give a shout out to the other people who are helping behind the scenes and might not have had a mention yet.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to a few folks as well, because we didn't get to mention them earlier on. But first of all, thanks for everyone who's watching. It's so great to have the engagement. And I've been glued to the stream, to be honest, Eddie. Like all of the projects, they're so good. I knew this would be good, but I didn't realize just how excellent all the projects were going to be. It's just really, really cool. And my mum sat here watching as well. She's glued. Yeah, there's been a lot of people that have been helping behind the scenes. So I just wanted to say thank you to those, because this is obviously in partnership with WDD, and there's lots of folks in WDD that have been working on it. But there are also folks that I met through mutual aid, COVID mutual aid, that jumped on to support this, like as soon as it kind of came in as an idea. So Jane Maguire, Jennifer, Jean Jimbo, Louisa, from WDD, and then Vanessa Carson, who I'd met at mutual aid. But then also interesting from a tech perspective, Eddie, AWS stepped forward and were absolutely thrilled to be seeing the event, and supported us with a bunch of credits, which was really kind of just came out of the blue. But it's so lovely to see that kind of support from the tech community. So yeah, we do another event on. I love doing these hackathons with WDD and supporting them, organising these. So we'll do another one in person. Anyone who's been involved in this will want to come in person. I'll put loads of food, loads of drinks in, and yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone behind the scenes. Couldn't have done it without all of those folks.
It's awesome that you give them a shout out, I think.
And to you as well, Eddie.
Thank you. No, I love it how women-driven development are always so inclusive. I think this event, if I didn't have so much client work on, I would love to have actually taken part and participated. I would have live streamed the entire weekend. But I think I would have found it hard to decide which team to join, because all those people sound amazing and their projects sound just freaking awesome. And yeah, it would have been hard to see which one to pick. I think I would have probably joined one of the smaller teams, because I know some of the bigger teams have a lot of people there. So I think I would have gone for that. But it's quite exciting. Really look forward to seeing what comes out tomorrow evening, and who and what continues going forward. I know you're going to have a lot more of hackathons going. I know you wanted them in person, but maybe we'll have one or two more virtual ones before all that happens with the current situations. And yeah, thank you for all your awesome support. And yeah, it's been brilliant. I'm watching the chat still, and I think it's brilliant.
Thanks, Eddie.
Good. Have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of the hackathon. I will be following on Twitter and socials, and I know you share your Blue Jean links so we can watch the official videos and shout outs from the organisers and the demos from the teams. So anyone watching, don't forget to check out their YouTube channel to watch the replays, but also follow them on Twitter as Women Driven Development. I think it's Women Driven Dev on Twitter. You'll find it. It will have a logo like this. I'll just bring it up down below underneath. And yeah, for those of you who are new here and don't know who I am, I love open source. My name and details are below. Thank you so much all for watching. It's been amazing. I met so many amazing people, and yeah, just be safe, and we'll see you all soon. Good night, everyone. I'm gonna find my holding page. Somewhere here. Brilliant. Thanks again, Mindy. Thanks, everyone. I'm coming back. A bit of kind of, not bloopers at the end, but Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit that bell button to get notified every time I post a video, go live, and remind me how I can help you. Don't forget, I'm here for you, and I know you're here for me, and I really appreciate it. So if I can help you in any way, let me know. GCP and AWS came to the event unofficially to give any free credit. If I can maybe get some of that for you, if that's helpful, do let me know in the comments afterwards. And let me know what other videos and live streams you would like to see. I just love this conversation back and forth. That's why I'm doing more live streams from now on. And keep coding, be open source, and yes, let's chat. Let's chat soon. And tell your friends about this channel, right? They might enjoy it too. They might think a guy with a cap and glasses and who mumbles a lot and gets too excited about open source could be fun. Thank you, everyone. I'll go back to the holding screen.